Dear Lord and merciful Heavenly Father, we come here before you tonight as a new and fledgling party in its infancy. Dear Lord, direct us with our deliberations here tonight. Embolden our speakers that they can be clear and transparent and be fair in their assessments, dear Lord. Now we know that the people already pounce on us and saying that we are only 12. But you, dear Lord, had the whole world to choose from, and you also chose 12 disciples because you wanted it to be a perfect number and small enough that you can work with it. So we too would be looking at the example of the 12 disciples, and we would try to be the best that we can be and make the change agent for this country. So dear Lord, direct us through this meeting tonight, and when we do leave here, please take us to our homes in peace and safety. Amen. Now, I've got a list of speakers here, and I can run them down for you to make certain that you can pay attention and listen out for the ones that you might know and be familiar with. But I assure you that all is going to be worth listening to. Our first speaker would be Dominique York, one of our candidates in St. Philip. Then there's Raymond Wiggins from the same St. Michael block, Steve Blackett, and he is our General Secretary. Katrina Ramsey, our candidate in St. Michael West Central, a young lady I would dearly like to get landed. Ricardo Williams, better known as Laker, and he have been around at national level for a long time, and now he have thrown his lot in with us. So I'm hoping that he too would be well landed. Then there's our candidate in this St. Michael North, Ricardo Harrison, and then there's the president herself, Karina Goodridge. So without much more ado, I will ask our first candidate, Dominique York, to come and address you. And we already is a bit late, so we're trying to stick to a time span. So I'm hoping that everybody can get in what they would need to explain to you tonight, and that you will be able to digest it. Thank you.
Authentic leadership for brighter Barbados. One time I believe in love. One time I believe in love. What's it? In a world of empty promises, she's the one who's real. Dominique's heart beats for the people. She's the one we can feel. She's not a politician. She's a servant true. Putting people over politics, that's what she'll do. Dominique, she's the one for me. She's the voice of the people, she's the key.
Special good night to our president, Madam Karina Goodridge. Good night to our General Secretary, Stephen Blackett. Good night to all of the candidates of the Friends of Democracy, and a very special good night to you, the people of St. Michael North. I am Dominique York. I am the candidate for Christchurch East Central. And I am honored to be here tonight in St. Michael North, speaking alongside friend Ricardo Harrison, first Vice President and candidate of Friends of Democracy, my go-to guy for housing and criminal justice. Yes, he's also an attorney at law, a top-tier attorney at law. Ricky lifts my spirit whenever I see him. So though his backstory comes with serious titles, he's one you can reason with and be encouraged. He's always present and punctual. So I can imagine how well he will serve the people of St. Michael North constituency. So before I get into my speech, I want to address a few things. I came across the Barbados Labour Party's manifesto, and the top of this document said, "Covenant with Barbadians." So I just wanted to make one thing clear. The only covenant that I have is with that of God Almighty. Any other contract is null and void. The second thing I want to address is the comment that was made by one of their candidates about the newcomers in this political race being naive. Barbadians, do you think that it is naive to want a lowered cost of living? You think that it is naive to think that the crime rate can be reduced to nothing? You think that it's naive for us to think that we deserve better roads and a proper transportation system? I'm pretty sure that Martin Luther King was probably considered naive when he said that he had a dream, until that dream became reality. The Friends of Democracy also has a dream to see the Barbadians come out of this impoverished state that we are in and this bad treatment that we have been living through for the past 8 years. I don't think we are naive. I think that the most realistic thing is that Friends of Democracy will serve the people of Barbados rightfully how they deserve to be served. She also made a comment about women not being able to canvass like men. Well, I would God consider myself a man tonight because I was able to touch every neighborhood in my constituency, and I was still able to provide food for my children. The last thing I want to address is the Universal Breakfast Program. The BLP plans to launch a universal breakfast program to provide food for all children so parents no longer have to worry about the high cost of living and excess VAT on our food items. Instead of making food items more affordable to allow parents to provide quality and nutritious food for their children, the BLP wants to launch a breakfast program that will place more pressure on our teachers, take away time from learning, and put our children with allergies and non-communicable diseases at increased health risk. As a mother, I personally had to oppose that. I want to be able to afford to purchase healthy food so that I can enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and supper, and snacks with my children. So I say that we need to remove the VAT from our food items. Now let me get into my speech. Imagine a future where our youth are equipped with the skills to compete globally, whether it's academically or athletically, where our entrepreneurs can access the resources to turn their visions into accomplishments, and where our seniors can live with dignity, respect, and safety. This is the future we're working towards, a future that is bold, beautiful, and full of purpose. The youth are our future. We need to try harder to end all violence, but gun violence especially. Many of our young people are unemployed, many homeless, but the Prime Minister insists on taking up money from the Consolidated Fund to give to foreign companies. If you ask me, the Barbados Labour Party has their priorities messed up. An alternative, because they all like to ask what solutions we're coming with, right? So an alternative approach to attract investment, create jobs, and boost foreign exchange that I believe would be more promising is to invest in diversifying tourism, because we love our tourism industry. The tourism offerings would be ecotourism, cultural tourism, and sports tourism. Those things would reduce the dependence on traditional tourism sectors. Another promising alternative would be to invest in sustainable agricultural projects to enhance food security, support local farmers, and promote agrotourism and the exportation of our local foods. Friends of Democracy is committed to finding solutions to every problem that Barbadians are facing. Problems with crime, the relevant punishments will be assigned, not no taint law, but proper law enforcement, like corporal punishment. Petty crimes will attract slight penalties, but premeditated murder, rape, and domestic or child abuse warrants harsh penalties. Therefore, we will bring back capital punishment. It is not our desire to treat Barbadians inhumanely, but to prove that there are consequences for such actions and that y'all should refrain from such. The Bible says that if any man sins a sin which is not unto death, that we shall pray for him. But there is a sin that is unto death, and he does not say that we shall pray for them. So as a Christian, I can safely say that there is a sin that is unto death, and if you decide to commit the crime, you shall face the penalty. We believe in prioritizing targeted employment and skills development programs for at-risk youth in our communities, with a special focus on high crime hotspots. There should be an increase in vocational training for our young people. There needs to be a wide-scale introduction of paid apprenticeship partnerships with private sector employers, providing participants with experience and reducing financial barriers. There's also a deep need for the expansion of information on and access to mental health and substance abuse services, so those who are struggling know how to better recover, and the families and communities are better equipped to offer them some more loving support. Interagency collaboration is integral to all of these, linking our education, health, and housing needs, and delivering wraparound services to the vulnerable communities. Enhanced community policing units should be instituted in the communities where they actively work to build trust and engage residents in crime prevention. We recognize that criminal gangs are amongst the most dangerous threats to national security, social cohesion, and public safety in Barbados. In recent years, we have seen troubling rise in violence, gang-related activity, from our gun crimes to drug trafficking, to intimidation and the recruitment of minors and young people. To confront this crisis head-on, we need to reintroduce and modernize comprehensive anti-gang legislation aimed at disrupting, dismantling, and deterring criminal organizations operating across the island. In addition to this, we would also implement a seed program, the Small Enterprise Empowerment Department. In a reality where unemployment, underemployment, and lack of innovation in many sectors leaves young professionals disgruntled and unfulfilled, entrepreneurship still shines through as a glimmer of hope, an invitation for them to use their enthusiasm, knowledge, and network to build something of their own and help improve our society. A noble pursuit, and one which keeps our economy not only thriving through the activity it stimulates, but also growing in diversity, in options, and innovations. But a pursuit which for many Barbadians is near impossible, given the lack of sufficient funding and investment opportunities which help get their idea off the ground. This needs increasing, and it has led us to formulate a plan of action to address it. We will implement a startup seed fund in order to invest $1.5 million annually into over 100 entrepreneurs through the SEED program. Applicants will receive a $15,000 loan in which there will be a built-in compulsory enrollment in the NIS Self-Employment Contribution Fund, whose accumulated fund will act as a guarantee for the loan, with the government having the first claim on the maturity benefits over time. The NIS monthly or weekly payments from the loan recipients will form a part of the monthly repayment to the government for the loan. The rationale is to afford adequate and appropriate seed funding while simultaneously instituting a built-in mechanism to guarantee the loan while providing self-employment insurance coverage for the loan recipients. These funds, paired with empowerment opportunities like business training, startup resources and tools, and a network of other like-minded individuals will make establishing small business enterprises much easier than it is for entrepreneurs today. In the St. Michael North area, many are complaining of bad roads. Santia said it's due to climate change, but really and truly, I believe that it's due to quality change. The quality of the materials have changed because the people purchasing the materials want to be sure that after purchasing, they can keep the change. If the roads can't be done better, maybe the drainage needs to be done better so that less flooding will happen and less damage will occur. These are just a few solutions. Shortly, you will hear some more great solutions. This party isn't about making false promises. We don't play around. Vote Friends of Democracy. Vote Ricardo Harrison. Our values are rooted in commitment, fairness, and justice. We believe that every Bajan deserves to access quality education, healthcare, and affordable economic opportunities. The Friends of Democracy will work tirelessly to uphold these values and ensure that our country prospers. We'll promote equality, protect the environment, and foster a society where there are not only wealthy employers, but wealthy employees. Every sector will thrive. Tourism, agriculture, culture, culinary, transport, roadworks, education, property, we will all thrive. These values aren't just ideals. They're the guiding principles that shape our policies, inform our decisions, and inspire our actions. As I say, when I joined, I didn't understand politics. I understood that the people need policies put in place to serve them. We, the Friends of Democracy, will put policies in place that will serve every Barbadian. Thank you. I have a good night.
Barbados. One time I believe in love. All time I believe in love. What's it? In a world of empty promises, she's the one who's real. Dominique's heart beats for.
Well, you've heard Dominique, and I hope that you would take her to heart. She's spoken from her heart and speak on the bread and basket things that we normally would speak there every day. And the issue of roads, well, roads is an everywhere thing, not only St. Michael North. Everywhere there are roads. But I would like to do a little bit of housekeeping here. I had it to do and I didn't do it. I would like to apologize to the neighborhood for not notifying them about this meeting because it was scheduled to be at Montgomery and somehow it ended up with a clash, and here we are this evening. So I would ask you all to put up with it for the lack of notice. Earlier in the prayer, I mentioned the 12 disciples. But remember that on the other side of the 2018 election, Ms. Motley also used 12. Remember, she used to in one of her mantras, say that 17 ministers were too many, that there should be 12. And then lo and behold, the dice roll and roll right over in her favor. And she didn't remember that 12 were too many. She went for 2 12s and then an extra 2 for good measure. She went from 17 straight to 26. So I'm saying that 12 could be a magic number. It really come out the scriptures. So hopefully we would be able to prove by landing all 12 that 12 is part of the scriptures. I will now move on to our second speaker, and this is Raymond Wiggins, and he is from St. Michael Central. And you know that that constituency is playing a very important part in this election. Somehow they had the speaker there, and for some reason, he not coming back, and they're also looking for an independent speaker. So if we could make certain that we get our 12, we will have a say in who the independent speaker would be, and maybe that we can break some people's beaks. So I'm hoping that we will be able to resonate with the constituents in the 12 constituencies that we are running, and that we would be able to get first past the post. So with that, I would introduce my next speaker, Raymond Wiggins.
From the heart of St. Michael, a story unfolds. A man of the people, brave and bold. Raymond Wiggins, his name a beacon bright.
Good night, good night, good night. Good night, Whitehall. I want you to know people have been talking about Friends of Democracy as a, what they call a third party. But I want you to know tonight that we have been recognized as much more than a third party or a lower level party. We have been recognized by a major political party in Barbados. In so much as that we had yesterday a meeting down in Pike Corner, St. Lucie. And members of a major political party saw it fit to go to the said location 12 hours before we got there to persuade voters in the area and people listening not to vote for us. To the tune of, I don't know how much money, I don't know. Deep pockets. $2,400 I heard somebody say at the bar. The corned beef and biscuit politics come wrapped now in a different package. Eclipse, soda bix, and fish. ESA, when I went to school, when I know. And the thing is, they didn't send the lower level members. It was top-notch, top-tier members of this party that felt the need to drive all the way through all them bad roads to get down in Pike Corner to usurp our meeting and to probably intoxicate those young men that were there playing dominoes and hanging out, probably to get them to the point that they would be so intoxicated they would make a noise and don't want us to speak anymore. But the young men were very nice. They stood up for the national anthem, and they also sang along to the national anthem. They had their little drink and so forth, but they were not disruptive. But you know, they got these parties with deep, deep pockets that do all of these things and can upstage other parties. That's why we advocate for campaign financing. I've been talking about it for some time. There should be campaign financing that these parties don't have to dig into their own pockets and try to find intercorporate Barbados and so forth to try to get a little bit of help when these deep pocket people just driving all over the island doing as they please. Tonight, my brothers and sisters of Whitehall and Eden Lodge and those areas, I'm vying for representative just down the road in Bank Hall and those areas. Tonight, I'm not coming to you as a politician. I'm coming to you as someone who knows the streets, just like Ricky Harrison. As someone who knows that the song of sirens at night is not just a noise, it's a mother's fear. Because the truth is, the crime in Barbados is not just a headline. It's not just a number on the news. It's our children. It's our communities. It is Eden Lodge. It is Bank Hall. It is Whitehall. It's all these areas around us. It's the young boy living by the shop who should be studying. It's the young girl who thinks that her only future is survival instead of success. And if we are honest tonight, we are not just fighting criminals. We are fighting lost hope. There was a time in Barbados when a village raised a child that if you did wrong, the neighbors corrected you before you reach home, and you couldn't even say nothing when you get home because you would get more licks again. And if you struggle in school, somebody down the road will help you to read or spell. And if you were hungry, somebody would feed you. But somewhere along the line, somewhere along the way, many of our young people have fell through the cracks. Not because they are bad, but because the system has failed them. A boy in Eden Lodge is not born wanting to join a gang. A youth in Bank Hall does not wake up at 12 years old saying, I want to end up in prison. And no child in Whitehall dreams to become a statistic. They want what every child wants. They want to feel seen. They want to feel valued. They want to feel that their life can become something. But when school tells them that they're slow, when the home is full of stress, when the only people offering them attention are the wrong influences, the streets start to feel like family. And that is where we are losing them, to the streets. So the question is not just, how do we stop crime? The question really is, how do we save our youth before crime ever gets them? Because by the time a young man is holding a weapon, we are already too late. We must reach them at a much younger age, primary school age, 8, 9, 10, 12. We need to build pathways, not prisons. First, we must change how we teach children who are not book bright. Not every child is meant to sit in a classroom all day long doing theory. Some are builders, some are mechanics, some are chefs, some are electricians, some are artists. Some are entrepreneurs waiting to be discovered. Instead of letting them feel like failures, we must create technical and skill programs attached to secondary schools. And you've heard me spoken about this on many occasions, where we talk about retooling the Alma Parish School into a technical career institute and putting some of these children in there when they're not good at English and math and so forth. Getting a hold of their skills and honing their skills, letting them work with their hands, letting them make something of themselves, letting them feel wanted, letting them feel needed, letting them feel like they're someone. So instead of letting them feel like failures, imagine this. A young boy from Bank Hall who struggles with English, but is brilliant with his hands. By 15 years old, he is learning carpentry, welding, and auto repair. And a young girl from Whitehall who doesn't shine in exams, but loves baking. She's in a culinary training program, learning business skills. You know what that does? It gives a child dignity. It gives a child a reason to wake up. It shows them a future that does not involve the block. When a young person can see themselves earning honest money, crime becomes less attractive. We also need after-school safe zones in these communities. We've spoken about that at length as well. Some of these community centers are just shuttered and nothing happening in there. We need to retool them and repurpose them for our young people. And we have them in communities all around these places. Every high-risk area must have a community center that opens into the evening. Not just a building, but a place where mentors, homework help, sports, music, as Andwele will talk about his passion for those things, technology and counseling. Because crime does not recruit at 10 a.m. in the classroom, crime recruits after 3 p.m. when children are idle. And they say the devil makes work for idle hands. Idle time is the devil's workshop, and our children are paying the price. We must flood these communities with opportunities the same way that negativity have flooded them. We also need mentorship. Every at-risk youth should be connected to an adult who cares, whether it be a coach, a tradesman, a business owner, a retired teacher, a community elder. And we've spoken about our desire to start programs within my own neighborhood, my own constituency, where we partner local businesses with some of the youth to bring them in for some training and teach them some of the ways. We want to teach them also how to prepare resumes and how to go on job interviews and so forth, because some of the youth don't know anything about these things. One caring adult can change the direction of a life. Sometimes a boy joins a gang not because he wants trouble, but because he is searching for belonging. He desires to belong to something. So let us become that belonging that these children seek and desire. We also need mental health support. Our young people are carrying trauma that is not talked about, violence that they have seen and kept it in, poverty, stress, family breakdown, loss. We tell boys to man up and to be strong, but we do not give them the tools to deal with pain. Pain that is not healed becomes anger. Anger without guidance becomes violence. Counseling in schools and community is not a luxury. It is crime prevention. And we've spoken about putting mental health professionals in some of the schools or in some of the areas that can service the schools. And with teachers, finding some of these children who are challenged, who have mental health issues that lie beneath and need help. But we've also spoken about these things have to be operated by and have people working in them who knows about secrecy, who knows about keeping people's personal things personal and not outing persons and making them feel bad when somebody knows that they're into some of these programs. We also need jobs and entrepreneurship for youth. And I mentioned that just now when we want to partner some of the youth with some of the local businesses and so forth. We must create programs where businesses partner to give training and apprenticeships. And yet young people from these same very communities, Eden Lodge, Whitehall, Bank Hall, where they can learn trades and earn stipends while training. Because when a young man has $300 from honest work in his pocket, he stands taller. He thinks differently, and he sees himself differently. Economic opportunity is one of the strongest crime prevention tools we have. But let me be clear, this cannot be government alone. Communities must rise up and rise up to the challenge as well. Fathers must return to leadership roles. Mothers must keep guiding. Churches must open doors. And community leaders must step forward. You hardly hear any community leaders anymore. Like everybody just wants to stay in the background and just blame the youth and then read the papers and shake their head the next day at what is happening in our country. We have to stop that. We have to step out of the shadows and step up to the plate We cannot complain about the youth and then leave them alone. Every child in Eden Lodge is our child. Every youth in Bank Hall is our responsibility. Every teenager in Whitehall is part of Barbados' future. And if we lose them, God help us, we lose them all. And to the young people listening to me tonight, you are not your postcode, you are not your address, you are not your circumstances, you are not what people say about the area in which you live. You are potential. You are talent. You are strength just waiting for direction. Do not let anybody convince you that the streets are your destiny. Your life is bigger than the block. There's greatness inside of you, even if nobody has told you that as yet. I'm telling you tonight, there is greatness inside all of you. It just needs to be channeled and brought out for everyone to see, for you to be a light to shine on top of the hill. Barbados, we stand at a crossroad. We can keep reacting to crime, or we can start preventing it. We can keep building cells, or we can start building futures. We can keep burying potentials, or we can start raising possibility. The youth are not the problem. Abandonment of the youth is the problem. Lack of opportunity is the problem. Helplessness is the problem. And hope is something that we can rebuild. We can give them all hope again. We want to be the political party that said, no more writing off our young people. No more letting talent waste on the block. No more losing our sons and daughters to a system that did not fight for them. Let us invest in skills. Let us invest in mentorship. Let us invest in safe spaces. Let us invest in opportunity. Because when you save a child, you save a family. You save communities. And when you save communities, you save the entire island of Barbados. The fight against crime is not just about policing. It is about purpose. It is about guidance. It is about love with structure. It is about discipline with opportunity. It is about showing our youth that the future is brighter than the streets. And I believe we can do it. I believe Barbados can rise at this moment. I believe our young people are worth the fight. We cannot give up on them. They're our future. We have to fight for them. Let us not turn away from them. Let us reach back and lift them up and lead them forward. Because these youth are not statistics. These youth are future prime ministers. They are future lawyers and magistrates. They are future entrepreneurs. They are our future leaders. And they are waiting for us to believe in them so that they in turn can believe in themselves and know they can make something of themselves. So may we choose to save our children, and in doing so, also save Barbados. Let us look to groups like Friends of Democracy and some of our policies that we have in place for saving our young people from the streets and from crime. We have to save them. They deserve saving. And Barbados, they're not telling you that Friends of Barbados are on a track to save these persons, whether we are in opposition or whether we are out here on the streets fighting tooth and nail as we have been in a lot of these communities for a long time. We will continue to fight because our young people are not lost. They are our future and they deserve our help. Good night. Thank you very much.
Born and raised right here, he knows our plea for a better future for you and me. He sees the struggles, hears every cry. A true leader beneath this sky. Oh, Raymond Wiggins for St. Michael's soul. On the Friends of Democracy Road.
Good night once again, ladies and gentlemen. Now, my third speaker tonight is our General Secretary. And this is a man that I've been friendly with even before that we were in the other party. But he is a man that I truly admire because he understood that everything have a shelf life, and you know when your time is up, but you can step back and help others. And if more of us will be able to accept that when the time is up, that you don't have to try to hold on and fight for purpose and fight for everything, but you could be there coaching and training and preparing the others to take over. I myself have 3 children, 4 grandchildren so far, and that is all I just ever put to them. That when I go, that they will be able to continue and to stick together as family. Family should never be falling apart. So I must say that out of my admiration for my next speaker, I would say that he led the charge with this new party, and so far we've gotten great response. And I'm hoping that by the end of this campaign, that the response would be turned into votes, and we would get a chance to make a difference. The first thing we need to do is keep the bees in check, as the slogan is, and then we have make a difference for the natural citizens of Barbados. So my next speaker is Stephen Blackett. And like I said, he has been a 2-time minister and a community practitioner, because I think that that should be the heart of every politician, that there should be a community practitioner. But some of them can't line up with that there. I don't know what to stop them from doing it, but I think that that is the place that you should start as a community practitioner. And by the time you get to be a politician, it should be well embedded in you. So I would ask Mr. Blackett to come and address you. Well, we're still running a tight ship. I know he could probably go off all night, but as usual, he only got an allotted amount of time. Thank you.
Babies in check. Oh, na na na. Hey, stand up, Barbadians. Let me take back we respect. Time to rise up, time to step. We keeping the bees in check. Check, 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 check. Keeping the bees in check. No more thing on the people neck. We standing strong, we won't defect. Barbados, rise up, show respect. Check, check. Keeping the bees in check. From St. Lucie straight down to St. Philip West. We guarding the highway, ready respect. Friends of democracy.
Thank you very much, Cardinal Highland, of course, our chairman tonight. And I'm going to reveal, a lot of people don't know that Cardinal, of course, is a tried and tested member of the former party. He's now a tried and tested senior member of the Friends of Democracy. And we are really deeply appreciative of his effort in crossing the Rubicon, of course, and coming over here to help us and assist us with himself and people like Undine Whitaker and those elder statespersons to assist the young people here in the Friends of Democracy. First of all, I want to bring greetings to all of those residents who are within the hearing of my voice in Whitehall Main Road, Whitehall 1, 2, and 3. Of course, Rockdundo, those who are hearing us and the other surrounding areas, a very good night to you. And to those who are following us on our stream and those right here before the platform and listening to the message according to the Friends of Democracy. The principal reason, of course, why we're here tonight, we're here for several reasons, but one of the principal reasons is to support the candidacy of our candidate in this particular riding and constituency, Bertnell Ricardo Harrison. Now, Ricardo, or Ricky, he's an attorney at law. And of course, I have known Ricky from school days. We are actually part of the class of '67. And some of the youngsters who are here are wondering, 67, well, that song like somebody when Christopher Columbus inhabited the Caribbean. But Ricky and I went to school, of course, back. We shared schools at Whitehall Boys School, and then we went on to St. Leonard's Boys. Like I said, the class of 1967. And we were friends almost, I think almost from birth, but after birth. We attended St. Leonard's, like I said, and Wesley Hall. And we used to walk up from school and to school together. He in Marine Road in Bush Hall and I in Hill Road in Bank Hall. So we know each other from way, way back. And I want to say tonight, as a personal testimony to this, I almost said young man, but we are of a little older vintage at this stage, where he is a decent man to the core. Decent to the core. And I normally only associate myself with decent people. So the younger members of this party can be assured that you too are decent, because I only associate myself with decent people. And therefore, he is decent, but he comes with a cheekiness and a mischievousness that I know that several of our members are quite aware of. But of course, it is a pleasant kind of mischievousness and cheekiness, and we love him for it. One of the fundamental hallmarks of this gentleman, which I admire, of course, he's coming from a military background, and therefore he brings with it the characteristics of punctuality, which I myself emulate. And if there is a meeting of any type, you can be sure that one of the first persons, if not the first person to arrive, is Ricky to that meeting or to that gathering. And he has at his core the service to his community, and I am sure that when he's elected as the Member of Parliament for St. Michael North, that he will bring that community practice that he is known for to this very community here. So you can set aside all the other candidates who will appear on the ballot paper on February 11th and only fix your gaze on the name of Bertnal Ricardo Harrison and elect him to ascend the 22 steps of the House of Assembly after the election of February 11th. And I ask you, I beseech you, the members of this constituency in St. Michael North, to throw your full support behind this young man, because I'm sure that he will be a representative par excellence. I want to say here tonight that the Friends of Democracy is offering itself as a party to reinforce the democratic governance of this country. We have been lacking, sadly, in that democratic governance because we have, all over the last 8 years, we have had to put up with only one party dominating the parliament. We also want to provide the alternative policy direction, which you will find if you peruse our manifesto, and you will see the different policy directions, quite different from a lot of what the other parties are offering. You will see that we want to safeguard the tendency to one-sided governance, as I spoke to just now, and also provide a responsible and strong and potent opposition to sometimes a wayward and irresponsible government. And we on this Friends of Democracy platform like to speak the truth. And we're not going to say that the Barbados Labour Party as a government is always wayward and is always irresponsible, because that would not be true. Because the mere fact that they were returned to office on 2 consecutive occasions clearly tells me that the people of Barbados have some measure of confidence in the Barbados Labour Party. And for us to stand on this platform and say that they did not, in some ways, practice responsibility and were not wayward at all times, we will be telling the truth. So therefore, we want to ensure that we bring or present a strong opposition so that they will remain not being wayward and remain not being irresponsible. We want to influence the conversation towards policy change for the better. And we set out almost deliberately through our candidate selection process to identify young people, young men and young women, who are most of them what they consider Generation Z, all almost under the age of 40. 50% of the candidates are, I believe, in the vicinity of 65% of the candidates that we are offering as our standard bearers in Barbados for the Friends of Democracy are people from Generation Z, 40 years and younger, or just over 40. And I believe, and we believe with the leadership of the Friends of Democracy, that it is that kind of person that we are looking for that will influence the decision-making within the body, within the apparatus of the Friends of Democracy, that our policies and our policy positions would be influenced by that youngness. Because people of my vintage and Ricky's vintage, yes, we are experienced, but I believe that a younger type of thinking needs to be injected and infused into the Friends of Democracy so that we will have a pleasant blend of the old and the pleasant blend of the new. And therefore, we are happy that we have attracted that kind of youngness within the bosom of the Friends of Democracy to help the decision-making makers within the party to influence the kind of decisions that will impact and impinge positively on the people of Barbados. And we are saying without doubt that if a sizable number of people continue to vote for the Barbados Labour Party, as we believe they will, from all indications from the polls, and I'll speak to the polls a little later, that we think that if that large number of people turn up at the polls on February 11th and re-elect the Barbados Labour Party, we feel that a large enough number of people should make a conscious decision tonight and going forward from here on in to elect a strong, potent, and vibrant opposition, and we are asking you to repose that confidence within the bosom of the Friends of Democracy political party. Give us the vote. And I'm going to say watchman, but give us the vote and see what a significant change that this Friends of Democracy can make to the politics of this country. And to steal a line, of course, and I will embellish it a little bit from our candidate for St. James North. She normally says, Stephanie Williams, make it make sense? Well, I'm going to tell you, let the Parliament of Barbados going forward after February 11th to make some sense too. So if we are seen as a significant opposition party, help us to get elected, help us to champion and introduce some of our policies which are far-reaching and touch the lives of the people of Barbados in a very positive way. Help us to champion and introduce those policies. And we are saying help us to do that, not from the seat of government, because we are realistic. We have taken a heavy dose of reality, and we know that we are only putting 12 candidates on the ballot paper. So we're going to be doing it from the opposition benches, but of course with robustness and with vigor and with vitality. And I want you to help us to influence change, like the cost of living, because as I said last evening, one of the principal reasons for us being in the business of politics in the Friends of Democracy, and we have three policies as far as I am concerned. The first policy is to reduce the cost of living. The second policy is to reduce the cost of living. And the third policy is to reduce the cost of living. And we are going to be doing that in a most vigorous way by at least three of our policy positions coming out of our manifesto, which was published last Sunday. And one of the ways that we are going to attack the cost of living in a very vicious and vibrant way is that we are suggesting or proposing to the people of Barbados of reducing the value-added tax on food items only. And when we say reduce the value-added tax, we are not reckless, and we're not saying reduce the value-added tax on every single thing in Barbados, including services. We're saying reduce the value-added tax on food items. Food items are the principal reason, or the high cost of food items are the principal reason why the cost of living in Barbados is so high and exorbitant. And therefore, one of the reasons that we have to attack the cost of living through the reduction of the value-added tax, moving it from 17.5% at the ports of entry and also at the end of the retail end of the stores and the shops in Barbados, a combined value-added tax of 35%, 17.5 at the port and 17.5 at the retail end. The value-added tax is a transactional tax, and therefore that tax attracts VAT at every transaction. And sometimes the transactions can go beyond the two that I'm talking about, sometimes 3 and 4 times down the road, up the value chain. And therefore we are contemplating and we're proposing that we abolish the value-added tax at the ports of entry and also at the retail end and replace it by a flat food reduction tax, we are calling it, of 16%. By doing that, we are actually reducing the VAT impact on the Barbadian spenders by 19%. And anytime you remove 19% from anything, you will see that there is a significant reduction of the cost of that item. And we will not stand idly by as an opposition and allow this particular policy, despite all the government wants to put on the table. We are going to be cajoling and coercing the government to ensure that this particular value-added tax reduction comes onto the government paper and it is implemented by the next administration in Barbados, because you're going to get robust and vigorous pushback from the Friends of Democracy, but from all of our members who will be elected to the House of Assembly. So we're talking about the reduction of the VAT by 19%, only paying 16% only at the ports of entry and nothing at the retail end. And we're going to layer on top of all of this, ladies and gentlemen, within the hearing of my voice tonight, by providing 11 food centers, because we believe, as I would explain to you later on from a leading economist in Barbados, that sometimes the retail sector and the merchants in Barbados may not want to pass on the 19% saving, which you should experience by the reduction of the Friends of Democracy value-added tax policy. We're going to layer on top of all of that 11 food centers positioned in each of the 11 parishes, where food items alone will be offered free of any VAT impositions or any other taxes. So I want to make that very clear. On top of the reduction in the value-added tax, we're going to ensure through the government's agencies themselves to provide 11 food centers offering food items alone. Because you know, you will hear the talk that the government is getting involved in the retail sector, therefore putting the retail sector in jeopardy and in some peril. But we want to ensure that the reduction in VAT is passed on to the average man and woman who is now experiencing tremendous pressure from the high cost of living in Barbados. One of the other things that we're looking at to target especially the pensioners in Barbados is to abolish taxes on 67% of their pensions, leaving only about 33% of their pensions to be taxable. That is a significant golden handshake that we intend to recommend to this government to ensure that the pensioners in Barbados get a break from the high costs and the high imposition of taxes, only taxing 67% of their pensions, leaving only taxing 33% of their pensions, leaving 67% free of any impositions of taxes. Now, most of these policy positions that we have put on the table, they're not pie in the sky nonsense as compared to what you're hearing from the George Street gang. They're talking about abolishing the value-added tax altogether. Now, that is the most reckless policy that is being promulgated by the Democratic Labour Party from their George Street headquarters. Now, the abolition of taxes, VAT, and VAT, of course, is one of the highest taxes in terms of revenue that the government experiences. And therefore, to even suggest the abolition of value-added tax on everything in Barbados is the most reckless kind of measure introduced by the Democratic Labour Party. One of the other measures by Ralph Anthony Torn, his abbreviation RAT, that he is proposing, he has some love for pensioners all of a sudden. Now, I want to say here tonight that Ralph Torn has no love for any pensioners, because clearly I will articulate to you tonight how he has no love for pensioners. So when he's talking about reducing the taxes on pensions, it must be a pipe dream. What about the pensioners that he locked out in August 2024? Pensioners like Big Heather. Big Heather, he locked out her, a woman who spent almost all of her time being in support of the Democratic Labour Party. Now, I heard this story told by the ambassador, Liz Thompson, but she is really telling the story from a third-hand position. I am telling this story like most of the older people in this audience here tonight can tell it from a first-hand position. So when Elizabeth Thompson, she was relying on third-hand information, I can tell you that Big Heather, who supplied that lunchroom and kitchen with a stove, a fridge, and every single day when the employees at the Democratic Labour Party headquarters did not have to go and buy lunch anywhere, Big Heather used to provide lunch for them every single day out of her own resources. That is one of the ladies that he locked out in August 2024. He also locked out Audrey Burrows. He locked out Fergie. He locked out Christabel. He locked out Elder Blackett. He locked out Undine Whitaker. He locked out all of these stalwarts. These are pensioners, you know. So his love, his sudden love for pensioners, I laugh at, because he had no love for these people who sacrificed and made all of the sacrifices in support of the Democratic Labour Party. We were locked out. Members, young members of the Friends of Democracy, you probably don't know about these things, but you should know from whence you came so that you know where you're going. And I'm telling you that we, the older members of the Friends of Democracy, you see us smiling sometimes, but of course, buried beneath that smile is a sense of hurt. Hurt that the party that we supported for over 40 years in my case, and in some cases more than 40 years by other members of this party, suffered at the hands of Ralph Torn and the Democratic Labour Party's leadership in August of 2024. Men and women had to be out in the rain under a tarpaulin being held by myself and another guy to shield us from the rain, the torrential rain of that day, the lightning and the thunder that we had to suffer and put up with on that day. People who contributed significantly to the repair and the refurbishment of the Democratic Labour Party headquarters, and especially the bathrooms, will be brought back from the dilapidated state. Some of those members who contributed their widow's mite and their small contributions to help put the Democratic Labour Party headquarters back in a state of repair, those members had to seek alternative means if they want to urinate that particular day. That is what Ralph Torn and the leadership of the Democratic Labour Party did to the Sterling and Cellar members of the Democratic Labour Party back in August 2024. So now he's talking about loving pensioners. Well, he didn't love the pensioners on the day back in 2024, on August 24. He treated them badly. And I want to tell the people of Barbados that he has no love for pensioners because he treated them back in 2024. His own people shut them out and locked them out, standing behind the gate and going into a church, pleading the blood of God, while he had people, members of the Democratic Labour Party, fully paid up members of the Democratic Labour Party, standing locked outside of a gate while they're inside, say the praising God. A gate that 2 weeks before I myself painted, and then I had to suffer the indignity of as General Secretary of that party by standing outside with the other members, locked out by Ralph Torn and the leadership of the Democratic Labour Party. Then he talks about introducing local government. What local government? What? Mia Mottley, in her wisdom as Prime Minister, gave him the responsibility of kickstarting what they're calling the People's Assemblies. She mandated him to go across the length and breadth of Barbados. This I'm talking about Ralph Torn now. Length and breadth of Barbados to collect information, to copy, I would say, a template that we as a government put in place called the constituency councils. And all they had to do is to take the constituency councils template, tweaked it, and refined it. And he was given the mandate to go across the length and breadth of Barbados and speak to Barbadians in ensuring that their policy of people assemblies were put in place. And he could not get it done. The Prime Minister gave him that job. The only job that Prime Minister Mottley gave him. So useless was this man. He was a backbencher from morning, not gifted enough to be in the cabinet, and relegated to non-performing status in the Barbados Labour Party. Given a constituency, I understand, to run. And of course, when he left, without announcing to his constituents or the party's management that he was leaving, he left it in tatters. So the story must be told. And I will tell the story one of these days about what actually happened with Ralph Torn's admittance to the Democratic Labour Party. Tonight is not the night for that, but I will get to it before this campaign is over. So, ladies and gentlemen, enough of Rat and the Ratatouilles in George Street. Enough of them. Our VAT policy, the Friends of Democracy, we were first out of the gates in promoting our policy on the reduction of VAT. So all that you're hearing now from the other parties, the Barbados Labour Party and from the Democratic Labour Party, they are just copying the policies that we first enunciated from our platforms. What the Barbados Labour Party is offering, of course, you know Prime Minister Mottley, she's very much used to handouts. This is a legacy that has been passed down to her, and she has manfully accepted it. Handouts, that is all she's interested in. The Democratic Labour Party, on the other hand, they're dithering. They have absolutely no understanding of the poor man's plight, and they're still drafting concepts of their policies. You imagine that we're about 8 days away from elections, about 8 days away from elections, and up until now, the Democratic Labour Party has not bestirred themselves to produce a manifesto of any type. But of course, if you go down to Montgomery Pastor, from which they displaced us tonight, and you see the number of people down there, you understand, I have about 15 people and 2 dogs and a sheep. You will understand why the Democratic Labour Party can only attract that kind of crowd and why they cannot produce a manifesto of any kind. And a young party founded only in July this year. 7 months, I said? 7 months. 7 months. This party has been founded. And we can produce a manifesto of quality. And I know, and I really want to invite members of the public and all those who are listening to the stream here tonight to go on our website and see the quality work that the Friends of Democracy has produced in terms of our manifesto. And that was a collective effort of all of us, the leadership and the members, because we got some advice on policy positions from members, rank and file members of the Friends of Democracy. And you see the quality work. And tonight, I want to compliment publicly John Delaney. He is, I don't mind, John, I hope you don't mind me calling your name publicly. But he came on board with the Friends of Democracy, and he has supported the work of our party. And a lot of the graphics and the other fine work that you see in the manifesto of the Friends of Democracy, that was the responsibility of John and his team. And I want to publicly thank you, John, for your good work. We really love you, John, as part of the Friends of Democracy. So, what the Barbados Labour Party is offering is $142 million of annual packages, raising tax credits, providing $100 monthly cash to pensioners, increasing pensioners' tax-free allowance. Now that's their answer to the reduction of the cost of living. And I'm not going to pretend to be any economist, but I listen to people who would have a good economic brain. And I listen to people like Anthony Wood, a recognized, experienced, and celebrated economist. And he spoke to this matter of the VAT reduction that we, the Friends of Democracy, we are proposing. He is disagreeing with the Central Bank Governor, Dr. Kevin Greenidge, who is saying to the people of Barbados that the abolition of the VAT on food would not only affect the poor, but it would also affect the rich in some way positively. But as you know, the rain falls on the just and the unjust. Dr. Greenidge, according to Anthony Wood, is saying that Dr. Greenidge is correct when he says if you reduce VAT, you're going to affect going to persons, you're going to get effects going to persons who do not need it, financially poor, who are financially strong, as well as those who do the vulnerable groups or the lower income households. Now, given the broad-based nature of VAT, Anthony Wood is saying, using its reduction as a relief measure is no different to the payment of the solidarity allowance, which was introduced by this government of $300 in May 2025. On that occasion, both the financially strong and the vulnerable individuals received it since no means tests were done. Every single Bajan in a certain category received this $300 that they handed out. The difference between the VAT reduction and the solidarity allowance is that with the former, there is a persistence in the relief of the vulnerable groups or lower income households and the financially strong. Whereas the impact of the solidarity allowance, the $300 that everybody got, is immediate and it is very, very short term. Dr. Greenidge's analysis is confusing when he queries whether the VAT reduction will be fully passed on to the consumers. Both the businesses and the consumers benefit from the VAT reduction. The reduction in the cost of supplies and services purchased by businesses occasioned by the reduction in VAT will lower their cost of operation. However, the businesses are not duty-bound to pass on the cost savings to the consumer in the form of lower pre-VAT prices. And this is why I told you earlier tonight that if the merchants in Barbados, they do not pass on the reduction in our VAT position, we will layer on top of all of that the 11 food centers across the 11 parishes to offer what we think Barbadians should be getting. But Mr. Wood went on to say that even if the businesses do not lower their pre-VAT prices, consumers will still benefit at the point of purchase with the application of the reduced rate of VAT. In the way, the intended relief for the vulnerable groups will be realized. So, Anthony Wood is agreeing with the Friends of Democracy that with the reduction of VAT, as we clearly articulated in our manifesto and tonight, that the benefit will go to the average person in Barbados. Every man, every woman will benefit from a reduction in the VAT to Barbadians. Now, before I wrap up, I want to say that we had a look at some polls recently produced by Ms. Dr. Devonish out of the University of the West Indies. And the polls confirming what every Bajan, except for the George Street gang, knows. That Ratthorne is bright, but he's not shining. He has no political acumen. He's pretty Dempsey when it comes to politics. And he's going to lead the Democratic Labour Party gang into a political cul-de-sac from which they will not recover anytime soon. After the February 11th, you can be sure that civil war will break out in George Street like you have never seen it before. You can be sure of that. The long knives are being sharpened as we speak. Every knife on sale at Carter's and Coleman have been bought by the people, the members of the Democratic Labour Party. They are sharpening their knives for Ratthorne. The conclaves are meeting every single day on the West Coast and the South Coast, discussing how to get rid of him after this election. They have called me. They have called other members, former members of the Democratic Labour Party. They are waiting for him because they know that he will be beaten in St. John. And when he's beaten in St. John, that is the end of him. But they're planning for him. I tell you, the conclaves are meeting and the long knives are sharpening for him. Look at what is happening in this current election, especially at the campaigns that are being staged by certain members of the Democratic Labour Party. The Democratic Labour Party is running a pop-down campaign. Look at the setup. Look at our setup for a 7-month-old party. Look at what we have here. Look at what we had in Bush Hall. Look at what we had over in Wanstead in Matthew's constituency a few nights ago. And you see the kind, and that's right, and we going forward, steady, 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 and we paying with debts as we go ahead. And we ain't getting the big sponsors, though. Not a fella ain't come on board any big merchant or they saying, give the Friends of Democracy any money. All the money you're seeing spending here are what we call grassroots contributions. Because they're asking the question, where the Friends of Democracy getting money from? But that's the business. That's the business. Grassroots contributions. And we paying for everything as we go. Paying as we go. So, look at the campaigns that are being run by Richard Seeley and Ryan Walters. You see the kind of campaigns he told them running? Richard Seeley got more posters on every single post. He got about 3 times the amount the Barbados Labour Party got. He running a campaign out of this world. Posters always, and billboards. Ryan Walters, he is busy. He is busy. Listen to her here. He's busy. He busy. He busy. He busy. Look at his campaign. Posters every street corner. Every billboards, every street corner. So he busy. David Eswick, poor fella, he had a campaign a few in 2022 that he was also challenging the main campaign, because I was the campaign manager for the main campaign in 2022. But he's lagging behind. But look at the competition that is being run by those two members who are competing, running campaigns out of this world, competing with the main campaign of the George Street Gang. All jockeying and campaigning for the leader of the opposition post, you know, because they know that Rathorn is going to be beaten severely in St. John, and Saint, of course, with his tail between his legs. So, friends here before us, the polls clearly said that over 1,100 people were interviewed. Half were undecided or will not vote. 23-point swing is needed for the George Street Gang to win the next general election. And the kind of swing I want to tell you that was evident only by Errol Walton Barrow in 1986 when he won 24-3, and David Thompson in 2008 when he won 20-10. So they would need a 23-point swing of that magnitude to capture the government of Barbados, and that is not possible. Support fully behind the Friends of Democracy. And why I'm saying that, ladies and gentlemen, because what is significant, that third parties in Barbados are not often looked at, but coming out of the poll, it clearly states that 45.9% of the electorate are definitely willing or to consider a third party. Some say they may support a third party, and some say they're undecided but would consider. And I can bet you, of all the third parties in Barbados, that the significant contributor to this general election in 2026 is this party called the Friends of Democracy. Because we are doing things, I don't know if you read the column recently in the paper called The Critic in the Crowd, written by my good friend Eric Smith. The compliments that were laced in that article about the Friends of Democracy, everything positive. And I want you, the young and older members of the Friends of Democracy, to be proud of yourselves for what we have done in 7 months and for what we are producing in this general election campaign. I want you to be proud of yourselves. We are outperforming several other parties in this campaign. And I am sure that the results are going to be clearly evident on February 11th, the night of February 11th, when the votes are counted at all of the counting stations across Barbados. Now, the Friends of Democracy will emerge as one of the leading parties in Barbados and solidly taking our position as a significant contributor to the political landscape of Barbados. I am sure of that. So I'm imploring all within the hearing of my voice as I wrap up tonight to consider the Friends of Democracy, ladies and gentlemen. Consider us. Vote for our 12 candidates in every single constituency where we have a representative. Vote for each one of them. Elect us to be your official opposition party. Help us to bring the checks and balances to the Mayor Motley administration that is so sadly lacking since 2018. I want you to assist the Friends of Democracy always at all times to keep the bees in check. Keep the bees in check. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Buzz, but we hearing the truth. People waking up from the long time snooze, no more poll and talk. Time to inspect the whole life shaking when we keeping bees in check. Keeping the bees in check. No more sting on the people neck. We standing strong, we won't defect. Barbados rise up, show respect. Eh. Keeping the bees in check from St. Lucie straight down to St. Philip West. We guarding the high, we ready. We said Friends of Democracy, keeping bees in check. No more flying around the world while the island stress. No more leaving poor people in a hot mess. We want real honey.
Yes, people all, we need to keep the bees in check. And even if you look at the bees in the true sense of the word, you know whenever bees are buzzing around, that you always try to keep them in check. Now, earlier I had mentioned about Miss Motley and her mantras. But there was also another mantra that she used to throw around, and it was, you cannot tax your way out of recession. That was one of her mantras before the 2018 swing around. And then lo and behold, that she unleashed the worst wax palax that we ever had. And up to now, 8 years later, we are still burdening under it. The only other tax I could recall in my lifetime that did this type of damage was when Tom Adams paid back the minibus man for slaughtering him over the very first Carifesta 81 or 82. And he paid them what they asked, and then he had their figures, and he gave them a wax balax that up to today, they still didn't recover from yet. I don't know how much you enjoyed that presentation just now by Steve Blackett, but I did enjoy it, and I like the way that he's prepared to offer his assistance to the others. And I'm thinking that he would get a just reward if we can make certain that we go out on the 11th and land all, but even if you don't get all, make certain you get at least a 50%, nothing less than that. So I'm hoping that that would be a good reward. I too, like him, is a February born, so that would be a good birthday treat for us. Now I move on to my next speaker, and this is the representative for St. Michael West Central. And I too am registered, she got it, as the young people would say, down pat. She is ready to take them on. So with that, I bring my next speaker, Karina Ramsey, and I would go so far to say the next representative for St. Michael West Central. Katrina Ramsey, yes, we got it right. She's the next representative for St. Michael West Central.
Karina, vote Karina. Keeping the bees in check. Oh, na na na. Hey, stand up, Barbadians. Let me take back we respect. Time to rise up, time to step. We keeping the bees in check. Check, 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 check. Keeping the bees in check. No more sting on the people neck. We standing strong, we won't defect. Barbados, rise up, show respect. Check, check. Keeping the bees in check. From St. Lucie straight down to St. Philip West. We guard in the high, we ready, we respect. Friends of democracy, keeping bees.
My fellow Barbadians, good night, St. Michael North. Good night, friends of democracy. Good night to the people who still believe Barbados deserves better. Now, before I move forward, I have something that I want to say from one of my constituents. And I think it would also be good so that you can hear exactly what he said as well. So let me get back to that message. So his message is for Barbadians to understand that there are the power givers. They are the government and not one elected person. Not me, not Bertnell, and not Stephanie. The people of Barbados, they have the choice to create a better society and living conditions if they choose to, by working together with fresh faces, people who are willing to do better by the community and the country. And that is what he would have said to me. And I believe that you all should hear that as well. So as I move forward, Barbadians are obedient people. And to this extent, I am humbly proud to be called a Barbadian. We follow rules. We respect authority. We believe in fairness. We believe that if we do the right thing, the country will do right by us. And in 2018, we were told one simple thing: vote and watch. And Barbados did exactly that. We voted and we watched. We watched the cost of living rise to unbearable levels. We watched food prices climb while wages stay the same. Because you know you don't pawn a little NAS as soon as you get the little increase. As soon as you get the little increase. We watch our bills go up. And yes, we're still watching. We watch crime spiral out of control. Watch murders increase. Watch fear creep into our communities. Watch parents worry every time their children step outside. And we are still watching. We watch a healthcare system under pressure. And if I truly had to speak about the QEH tonight, that alone will take up 2 full meetings. We watch nurses stretch beyond human limits. We watch doctors leave. We watch patients wait and wait and wait. We watch attempts to interfere with our education system, a system that built this nation, a system that has produced doctors, teachers, engineers, and leaders. We watch the largest cabinet in the Barbados history, the most consultants, the most advisors, and the most promises. And yet, the most pullbacks we've ever seen. So tonight, I ask you a simple question. After all this watching, what exactly have you seen worth watching? Because many of us have seen no progress. We've seen pain. We've seen struggles. We've seen once a beautiful Barbados. But friends, tonight is not about criticism. Tonight is about choice. Tonight is about courage. Tonight is about new leadership. And that is why I'm standing here proudly. Not just for myself, but I am also in full support of Bertnell Ricardo Harrison. And he is going to be your next parliamentary representative for St. Michael North. Bertnell is not here to watch from the sidelines. He is not here to make noise and disappear. He is here to serve, to listen, and to stand firm for his people. He understands that leadership is not about titles. It's about responsibility. Leadership is not about power. It is about presence. And leadership is not about promises every 5 years. It's about showing up at least every day. And that is exactly what Friends of Democracy represents. We are not a party of policy as usual. We are a movement of ordinary people. Barbadians who refuse to accept that hardship is normal. We refuse to accept that fear is normal. We refuse to accept that struggle is the best Barbados can do. And as for me, a vote for me and a vote for Mr. Burtnell, Ricardo Harrison, is a clear choice for securing a beautiful Barbados. Not just beautiful in scenery, but beautiful in opportunities, beautiful in safety, beautiful in dignity, beautiful in how we treat our people. Now, I am committed to serving you, the people of St. Michael West Central. And let me make this clear and honest to you. Whatever the outcome, we will always be here for you. Because to us, you are not just a constituent, you are a family. You are a family that stays together through tough times and through good times, through uncertainty and through struggles. And yes, we are seeing harsher times now. But bear with us. Stand with Burtnell. Stand with the friends of democracy. And together we will make it. Because when people come together, and together, as I said, we will make it. Change is not hope. It becomes a plan. I trust in God, and I trust the people of Barbados. I look forward to being your parliamentary representative, but that can only happen if you act. On February the 11th, please, you can go to the polls and cast your vote. Bring a friend, encourage your family, call your neighbor, and remind them that their vote still matters. Vote for Burtnell Ricardo Harrison in St. Michael North. Vote for the Friends of Democracy. Because we are ready to stop watching and start fixing. We will be your voice in the wilderness. We will speak for the silent. We will stand with the underprivileged. We will fight for the marginalized. And we will represent the people, not special interests. For St. Michael West Central, for St. Michael North, for Barbados. I love you, St. Michael North. I stand with you, Barbados. Your future is still in your hands. May God bless you all, and many of you God bless. And before I leave, I have just one thing I want to add. Now, I go through social media a lot, and I saw a video of a lady speaking about her NAS not being paid. Now, we have two Labour parties, the Barbados Labour Party and the Democratic Labour Party. And they speak a lot to labor. But yet, the labor force is left not looked at. Because I think that they do need to step up and try to help them some more, investigate, provide other policies or procedures, and police some of these businesses so that the labor force and the labor persons that work every day feel supported, because they really do need our support. And as I said, good night and God bless.
Stand up, Barbadians. Let me take back we respect. Time to rise up, time to step. We keeping the bees in check, 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 check. Keeping the bees in check. No more stick on the people neck. We standing strong, we won't defect. Barbados, rise up, show respect. Check, check, keeping the bees in check. From St. Lucie straight down to St. Philip West. We guarding the high, we ready, we spec. Friends of democracy, keeping bees in check. Buzz, 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 but we hearing the truth. People waking up from the long time snooze. No more ball and talk. Time to inspect the whole life shaking when we keeping bees in check.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is just the beginning. You've heard Katrina, and I'm certain that something resonates with you. I think that she's definitely one for the future, but you got to start somewhere. So I would like her to start on February the 11th. So when I get back to St. Michael West Central, that would be the message that I would be taking. Anyhow, we can move right along. And our next speaker, and here again, this is another person that I have admired my whole life, because I come out of Strickle Cemetery in Black Rock, and then Deacon's Farm and everything there follow on from that. And he himself out of Deacons as a grassroots person, but one that was determined to elevate himself. And lo and behold, he was able to do it in a sport that up to now Barbados can't get it mastered. And I remember well, he and Jerry Goddard had to leave Barbados to get into professional football. And now he have got the passion whereby that he is willing to pass it on and help his community. He worked with the Deacons Community Project for a long time, and he just needs the right opportunity to take it to the next level. So here again, he is a candidate I would like to get land in Northwest. And I'm hoping that come February the 11th, that all those that they say suffering with the voter apathy, rightfully they're saying that they're not interested in the B's or the D's. So I'm hoping that they would come out and go for the Green New Deal and make certain that he is landed in St. Michael Northwest. And then they would see that he would be able to continue with the project that he has started, and the same way that he was able to elevate himself to be a professional footballer, he would be able to elevate the other athletes to be professionals in whatever is their endeavor. So without any further ado, I invite Ricky and Dwayne Williams to come and address you. Thank you.
St. Michael West Central! Friends of Democracy! Vote Ramsey! Vote Ramsey! West Central stand up proudly. Friends of Democracy, standing strong for we. to the people. Make you vote count loudly. Friends of democracy.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, FOD family. Good night to Whitehall. This is Whitehall or Grey Hall? Oh, here's one. Whitehall number 2. I know I just is testing to see if you know it. I run all about here. In 1937, a fellow said today is a funny night and he ended up in jail. Lord knows if he got back to life. Because it's out of 1937 that the first real political party in Barbados was formed. Barbados Labour Party, as the Progressive League, was formed in 1938. Since then, we had all types of political parties. Albar brought a new party in 1955 called the Democratic Labour Party. And they had the Barbados National Party and all these parties. So a third party is nothing new. We always had new parties in Barbados, starting with the same Barbados Labour Party that's saying that there's no room for a third party. But tonight they come to dispel all these mistruths. But before I start, I'd like to say a shout out to my friends in overseas that follow us right through. We only got people following in Barbados, you know. We got people following in Florida, in London, in Toronto, in New York, and as far as Los Angeles. Lord knows if we got some in the Philippines. This party is the party of hope. Friends of Democracy is the party of hope. Barbados has become a hopeless society. I have never seen in all the time I was living people in this country so downtrodden as I've seen in the last 7 years. Never seen it yet. Anybody that lives here, even Stevie Wonder, could see it. Day in, day out. We got a slogan going on in Barbados called "Give me $1." Throughout the length and breadth of this country, people begging, poor people suffering. I come here tonight to talk about poor people because that's why this party was formed. The sufferation of the few people that was outside the Democratic Labour Party when they put the people out in the rain, women, old women, poor women that built the Democratic Labour Party. And they put them outside in the rain. Some of them defecated on themselves. To be led by a man now, to force a man to lead them, a rat. You tell me don't talk about the rat. I ain't talking about the rat, but I can talk about the rat. And I'm not talking about a rat, I'm talking about the rat that put these people out, bringing shame to them and walk past them like nothing happened. And now coming to Barbados, telling Barbados, I want to lead you. But the majority of Barbadians are poor black people. And if you treated that crowd that was supposed to be home like that, how would you treat a stranger? So tonight I asked Barbados to put him to rest. We don't want no leptospirosis in this country. You got to go from whence you came. The sufferings of poor people in this country continues daily. I see it every day. I live in a constituency. I represent a constituency that have 5 housing areas. 5. Not 1. 5 housing areas. I partially raised in a housing area. I spoke about it. I got a video out. You got to go and watch it. It got 1 million views by now. Because I spoke about how I was raised. I was raised I come from a pit toilet to water toilet. And you cannot know where you're going if you don't know where you come from. Friends of Democracy know where we came from. That's why in 7 months we are at this stage. That we can keep a political party tonight and got a couple hundred people. And I now passed 2 political parties meetings on my way down. And if I add them up together, 2 Barbados Labour Party meetings, 1 in Dash Valley and 1 in Randy View. And I add them together, God is my judge. They ain't got 10 people, a ruling party, because they ain't got effect. And if they ain't got effect, nobody ain't going. I live in a constituency that have 5 housing areas. The reason why I repeat that, because every available penny that anybody wants to represent that constituency or constituencies like these, got to channel the money towards the poor people. You cannot be putting up billboards at $1,500 and $15,000 all around the place and people suffering. It's an insult to people. Who do you think you are? Mosey Town? Or Putin? Why do you have to do this? In my constituency, I am very angry about it. I refuse to put up a poster. I ain't going to put no pole when break the law and put up no poster. They told me not to put up posters on the pole and I ain't putting up none. If my people don't listen to my voice and hear what I'm saying, I'm representing them, well, fair enough. And the movie star, I have served this country from the time I was 13 years old. I have reached national and international level. I do not have to go out there and put up a billboard. They put up billboards for me already. And that angers me in a time when we got a country with a constituency with 5 housing areas. I canvass the housing areas. I see the plight of people in the housing areas. I see some houses that have ended that don't have any light in them. The lights ain't blow. The current cut off. Cannot afford to pay the water rates or the light rates that was imposed by the Barbados Labour Party. And if a person that comes outside of the Barbados Labour Party that comes to represent these people, who want to really represent them, you can't come out and start with that. I expect $300 to come in. How the hell you expect to push this? I gotta be careful you don't say the wrong thing. Because I'm angry. I'm angry tonight. When I see these things happen to people like me, I told you that I came out of a pit toilet environment. I know what it is to go to school with little or no money. And through the efforts of a man called Al Walton Barrow that elevated the plight of poor people, I got elevated to where I am today. Now I see a group of people that benefited from him, taking us right back down to 1937. The others will talk about the policies, and we got some tremendous policies. But we can't implement them unless we get in the House of Assembly. Remember that. We could go here and keep as much noise as we want. If you don't put me in the House of Assembly, we can't. You could imagine putting me in the House of Assembly? Shut your eye for 1 minute and imagine me in the House of Assembly with the ignorance that these politicians is getting there and do. Every day they will call the police to me because the wickedness that they do, I am not going to let it happen. No, I ain't going to tell nobody I can starve you. But I can attack the wrongs that they do to us, the amount of taxes that they keep putting on us daily. Go on the Highland who wax relax. Morning, noon, and night. The millions of dollars that they use traveling throughout the world when we got Teams and we got Zoom and we got all these things. We never traveled during COVID and business was still done. I'd be traveling by private jets and millions of dollars being spent and poor people suffering daily. You won't pay the police, you won't pay the nurses, you won't pay the teachers, but you can take this money and lavish it out on you and your friends. And tell me to keep quiet. I can't keep quiet when you mash me by my corn. That is being deceitful. Barbadians, you got to rise up. It's no time to go to sleep now. An election was pushed on us before the time that the election was really due. It's the second time that the Prime Minister has done it. We gave you 5 years. There was a reason that we gave you 5 years. There's a reason that America gives you 2 terms. And there's a reason that America gives you 2 terms, and there's a date that they give you. That you cannot keep it before or after. Everything is done in order. This government don't do anything in order. When the Democratic Labour Party was in power back in the days of Earl Barr, I talk about the Democratic Labour Party. I don't talk about no rat-led party. 1966, and the next election was 1971. 5 years. And the next was 1976. 5 years. And then 1981. 5 years. Now we bring some bandits. 2 years, 3 years. Were you scared of? We give you 5 years. Because you see you can't do nothing in a year or two. So we give you 5 years. You don't complete nothing in 5 years. Call one completed project. The only completed thing that the Barbados Party has done to people in Barbados is put them back in poverty. That's the only thing that they complete or completing. Call their project that they complete. Call one. I'm waiting. I only got half hour, so I can't wait longer. Because nobody can call one. Not one project. The ratness up there by with the Bedford Carry Fester, that's a project. But we don't know what that is up to this day. But millions of dollars spent, and up there disintegrated millions of dollars. We pay millions of dollars and buy the place at the Carry Fester Village. Millions of dollars on the place that cannot put a water toilet. It's a water zone. Nobody can tell me up to now how much Carry Fester costs. Right next to the stadium is a water zone. Millions of dollars spent, and poor people suffering. I didn't come out here to be nobody friend. I come out to the masses and they go represent the masses. I ain't trying to look pretty. I ain't Waters. I don't want to look pretty. I was born pretty. I ain't going to try to look pretty. I ain't going to dress up makeup and put up a billboard. I was born pretty. But there's a time for everything under the sun. And this time I'm angry. I got to be angry in this time because I got children and grandchildren like you out there. I see Matthew Thorne or candidate for same or next representative for St. James South. I see him walking up there with his daughter or son in his hand. 2 daughters in his hand. So I go represent these people. You imagine raising children in this time? When every day somebody's blood is on the street. Every day, even today. Look, it's so much murder that they're getting it wrong how people die. I get a text this morning telling me a man get stabbed. They said, no, he ain't get stabbed. Another fellow get stabbed. It's just happening. Like it's a norm in Barbados. 350 murders. When they raised up and they had 2 murders, it was big talk. The same Barbados, you know, when they get on the F, Barbados grew. Barbados is still 166 square miles, you know. Don't think that this country grow and so expect this and expect that. It's the same Barbados. But the attitude of the people change. Days are over that people send their children to Sunday school. I had a sport meeting last night. And they urged the people to send their children to Sunday school. No matter what you do, send your children to Sunday school. If you send them to Sunday school, chances are you ain't going to go and bury them before they raise up. 99.9% of the people that Dodds never went to Sunday school yet. Well, that tells you something. I don't know. Some of them got a lot of beliefs about they ain't believe in this, the Bible, this and that. Look, there's only one Bible. But there's only one God. Send your children to Sunday school. I don't care who you believe. You see how you go send your children to school? Send your children to Sunday school. The facts are there to prove. We got to get back this country. And we can't get it back by passing laws. We got to get it back by going to God. No man can't get this back. It past man is the devil that you're dealing with now. This is spiritual wickedness in high places. The blood that flowing on the street ain't ordinary blood. They be get real. You see, I tell my people, I ain't come to beg for vote. I come to ask you to let me represent you. You hear Katrina just now, I get wrong. We got Katrinas, Karinas, Camilas. We got a lot of Katrina, right? So I get wrong. So if I get wrong, correct me. But you hear Katrina just now? You hear that impassioned plea with that young lady, a mother? That's what we come to do, represent you. We ain't come to beg you for the vote that when we get in there, we become MPs and put on the best suit. The tightest suit like Walters and walk out like a clown. Tightest and a Corsairs or it's called Corsairs and you arrive. You come to represent me looking like that, you better put on your gear and come out. Because this is a serious game that we play here now. This is a life game. This is a game of life. And we cannot have politicians vying for office and does not have their bone for poor people in the arsenal. None at all. all they telling you, one of them, so I ain't gonna call the name, he tell a fella, man, come and get a piece of this, because if you get 2 terms, you can get a pension. This is one of the people I run against. I will speak about it in the farm when I get there. Because I can give you my all, and if you want me to represent you, because then nobody can represent me like you, because I born in it. I got a mess. That's how you get a message. I come up in a mess. I didn't tell you about my struggles in football. I fought the administration throughout, because I thought, even back then, that if you go to a football game or cricket game, any game, and you collect money at the door, you collect money at the door because of who playing the game. And those people that you collect the money from should get something. Don't give me a blue and yellow shirt and tell me represent your country and not a dime. You can't give me money and live in Pambalam on it. So I attack it. And I'm the person that dispute it, that make the change the name from the Barbados Amateur Football Association, BAFA, to BFA, because when they told them I must be paid, and they say you can't get paid because you're an amateur, I asked how do I could become a professional. They say you got to sign an affidavit. That time they know what affidavit mean. They tell me you got to sign an affidavit. I said, write up whatever I got to sign. Let me put my name on it because I can write real good. And at that moment they laugh and say, hey, you know you can't pay no more for Barbados. I said, but not for not these not. Not for not these not. So I tell you I'm paying, I say get paid. So I can as well back out. And you know how you know what? My God is a good God. I will never ever forsake Almighty God. Jesus! In less than 2 weeks, a man knocked my door that I never saw in my life with a foreign accent. I didn't even want to answer. And when Jerry, because Jerry was in the same dilemma as me, when Jerry knocked the door, opened the door, the man said, my name is Kenrick Belcon. I come for you two guys. I read about you. I was watching you guys. I see how you can play. I came for you to put you in my professional football team. That is who God is. So I could serve God till I die. You open another one so people don't be despair. Don't think that Marty is a God. She ain't no God. God is still on the throne. Put your faith in God. And if you put your faith in God, you can do just like how you part the Red Sea or how you raised Lazarus. That's the God that we serve. The leader of this party is a woman of God. The member, look, everybody in this party belong to God. This is a Christian party. We can call it the Barbados Christian Party, you know. These are full-fledged Christians in this party. They love God. They put everything before God. And that is how we can get out of this mess. Because we can't do it on our own volition. Don't ever think that we're that powerful. Don't operate like how you see the Prime Minister got her picture attached to every other member, like as she thinks she is God. Like I said before, they can say, no, you're nothing special. You cut, use, bleed too. You can't raise nobody up. You might raise up Chris Sinclair, but you can't raise nobody up. I can leave him for the farm. Because this time, this dispensation that we are under is a serious one. I want you all to know that. This is not a willy-nilly election, you know. This is an election that sprung on the friends of democracy, not the Democratic Party, you know. This was sprung on the friends of democracy to try to nip them in the bud because they start to come through there like quicksand, they're walking through quicksand. How the hell these people don't start? These people get put out of the place. How these people don't start? What's the black and then get these people to drink? That these people don't start, and all these shots that fire at them, they get stronger and stronger and get stronger and stronger. So there's something special about Friends of Democracy. The only special thing about it is that we serve a God that is mighty. And because of God, I can stand here tonight and say what I have to say without any fear. Because where I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil because He is always with me. So if you send your threats to me, forget it. Because I can talk my talk. And if it offends you, so be it. I ain't going to tell no lies about nobody. I ain't going to scandal nobody. There's scandalous things that can be said about a lot of these people. I will not do it because everybody knows their life. Barbados is only 166 square miles. You can't hide nothing in Barbados. So I don't have to come here and talk about my personal life. I ain't indulging in it. Because everybody know everybody's personal life. But I can talk about the facts that affecting me day in and day out, and the lies that you told to us. You told us that the Democrat Labour Party was 10 lost years. 10 years lost. They didn't do nothing. You said that the lost decade. That's what you said. You managed to convince the people because the Democrat Labour Party never put a case for themselves. So you managed to convince the people that the Democrat Labour Party didn't know what it was doing. And the day after the election, the sewers went off the street automatically. So that was the first trick. So you had to be sabotaging the government then. But God don't sleep. Everything that you try to do backfire. We call it a walk-back government. Everything, even with 30 Love, and even with another 30 Love, you still can't operate because it's a minority government. You ain't got that power, because when the people was the opposition, you know, not the rat, you know. The people who rebel against the thing, the people rebel against the vaccine, the people rebel against the ID card, the people rebel against everything that was brought, and the government had to walk it back. The people got the power. People, listen, when you got all the power, use it wisely. Don't let 30 people in the House Assembly be your guide. Let God be your guide. Use your power wisely. This black government was not formed for that. In 1937, when Granny Adams formed the Progressive League, it was formed out of the harshness that black people were going through back then. Somebody had to rise up. They even called Granny Adams Moses. Not me, but then called him so. They even called him Moses because it was so hard back then. You could imagine how it was back then. The slavery was abolished in the 1800s, but they still had slavery going on in Barbados. And since then till now, till 1966, when Elbar took the government in Barbados, let me walk the street with brooms. Some of you too young to know that, but you got to remember, to know where you're going, you got to know where you come from. In 1961, when we walked the streets of Bridgetown, I was a little boy going to school at Foundation, a little boy. But we don't want to know who he is now, because he looked like a teenager. Ask Ricky Harrison. We walked the streets. Barbados came alive. We had a first shot. A shot was not fired, but they had a man that the people believed in that came out and represented poor people. He didn't have to do it. He was a prominent lawyer. He was a distinguished man. He was born out of a middle class. And he decided to take Barbados and rescue them from the hands of the oppressors. The oppressors then was the Barbados Labour Party. This is where we find ourselves at now. And the oppressor now is still the Barbados Labour Party, because right now they got two Barbados Labour Parties. They got one run by me and Motley, and they got one run by the Rat. Because both of them, as I speak now, were elected as Barbados Labour Party representatives. Both of them. Tell me a lie. So if you think that you get called a DLP now because some, I don't want to call them nuisances, but some spent forces decided to destroy what was coming, because something powerful was coming. And anybody that knew what was going on knew that something powerful was coming after the fellas regrouped. We were on here with Steve Blackett. Something powerful was coming. If there was left untouched, there would not be a problem today with who would be the next government of Barbados. And I think that Motley got she hand in that, because she pressured the Rat to left. And before he come out and say, well, look, I don't like what's going on in there. It ain't conducive to the poor people of this country. He came out and named two senators with the intention, because his first statement was, you cannot survive unless you're on the umbrella of a party. But they only had two then. I never want to put you out. You know what the other one is? You said that, but before you could go through the door and knock the door and say, I would like to meet the owners of this party or the boss's party, you formed two senators, Mr. Stiffcoat And the mistake that you make, boy, you put Tricia. You didn't know it was up to when you put Tricia there. And you then decided that you're going to go and not even knock. You sent some of the people that brought you to destroy the Democratic Labour Party. You sent them to disrespect the leadership then of the Democratic Labour Party. You see, people, when God know this, when God know this, now you got to keep telling them this. Because they keep telling you that we can come back there. God bring me out. And God tell you when they bring you out and you turn back, you turn the pillar of salt. So we can't turn back. We ain't going back. Even Moses went to the promised land because Moses is playing around. I telling the people, the members of the Friends of Democracy now, don't even think it. Because if you think it, you can turn it to, you ain't going to get in that promised land. Yeah? Stay the course. He came and disrespected this party, and the rest is history. And me and Marty clap and said, well done, son. Well done, son. You did the job that I sent you to do. She didn't write it and said, go in there and mash it up. But she set it up. And the rat fell for it. You know how easy it is to trap a rat. Just put down piece of cheese there up on the trap. And the rat done going for all it. He did that. And destroyed this party. That party called the Democratic Labour Party. I got some friends there keep telling me, man, come home, man, don't say nothing about me. I ain't going to say nothing about y'all. You all did it to yourselves. And God brought me out. And when it didn't come, and when it fall, when it turned into pillar of salt. Look at the by-election that happened in St. James North. You can see what happened. And you can see what's going to happen in this election. But you got 2 wrongs now out there. So we asking you, God, Steve, I can't even explain it better than what Steve said. You ain't going to beat Motley here now. At least we ain't going to beat Motley here now. But I be asked you to put us in there. Because if we get in there, let God do what God do. If we can beat Motley, God can go do it. But see we, put we in there. And if you put me in there, you're going to see an opposition that you never see before. You can see one that you never see before. I hear, as I speak here now, a little bird came and told me today, as I speak here tonight, that the president of this party, the leader of this political party, Karina Goodridge, is earmarked for the Senate. Pleasure of the Prime Minister of Barbados. Because they're going to try to pick off everything that we got. They did it. They pick off Tyra. Well, she won't get picking off, they pick she off. You know, they're picking off the enemies. They pick off Lashley. They pick off Chris. They're picking and they're picking and they're picking. Right? I know that they can't pick me, so nobody ain't gonna, they don't know me already. They don't know me. I ain't for sale. They don't know me already. Right? I know that. I know straight. If it's called straight attention, I know some people here ain't for sale. Don't be fooled by the dash and the hash, but stay your ground. Because this party is going to elevate to heights that they have never seen before in Barbados. Don't think that these people come out here tonight just so, you know. God has brought us here. And I'm not letting go of that. God has brought us here. I feel it every day. This is one of the most important elections ever in the history of Barbados. Because you got a woman that thinks she's a Titan. A worldwide star that walks throughout the world. We ain't even a country. We're a little island, 166 square miles with 270 people. You think that we can make noise in the world? We can make noise in the world with acts. Acts like sports and entertainment. Those are acts. But we can't make noise in the world politically. We ain't got the muscle to do it. All the talk that Venezuela had, Trump went and take up Madeira. And then got the biggest oil reserve in the world and big army. So don't let these people come and fool you about we got a prime minister who's a world. They ain't a world star. You know, you're looking to put something on your resume that you never had before. Oinafa said it very, very, very well. I ain't going to repeat it. Your job was to come and represent Barbados and grow Barbados to the point where that people in Barbados could go out of poverty. There will always be poor people, but poor people does not have to be hungry people. And they got hungry people in Barbados going to sleep and the night come. And that was the job of the Prime Minister, to take Barbados out of poverty. You said that you will do it. First thing that you do is put on 1 million sets of taxes on the backs of poor people, because rich people don't have a problem with taxes. They just put it on us. So you got 2 types of taxes. The one the Prime Minister put on, and the one the rich man put on in the supermarket. And this is the pressure that we face. Don't get fooled when we explain the VAT to you. We tell that we pay 35% in VAT. We never understood it that way. Because the people take the VAT and put it on us. Ryan Strong in his ignorance. Ryan Strong in his ignorance. I'm going to repeat it thirdly. Ryan Strong in his ignorance said that the VAT policy that we have is not feasible. Ryan Strong, you should be down Black Rock at that institution down there. That's madman talk. That is something that you should run with, just how you're running with the policies that we got now. Because I hear Kerry Simmons, he speaks a bad man. He can't be a bad man. Bad men don't interfere with women. Men don't interfere with women. We love women and treat women properly. So when you get it, you could only frighten a cat. You can't frighten a real man. So when you get here talking about you can give these people this and get, that's what Friends of Democracy said that we could go in our policies, brother. The same thing we saw about VAT that the rat pick up. None of these people ain't got a policy. They ain't got nothing for Barbados. You understand right now that the Friends of Democracy is who leading everything in Barbados? Get it in your pipe and smoke it, do your research. And I want the press to do the research. I want the press to act as press. Say the truth, and the truth is to be said. We are the people that talk about the reduction in VAT. We are the people that attack the ID cards. We are the people that attack the money that they want to put on by Airbnb. And it could go on and on and on and on. We just bring up the money for the kids and then go on on it too. What do we do? The monkey do too. Everything that we say they do, they have one policy. Because if you jump election, mayors who jump the election, not carrying them is followers. If you jump the election, them fellas ain't got nothing to say. They never had nothing to say anyhow, because she run everything. They never had nothing to say. So now with what he's saying, good, we can make that because them in the body. Nobody ain't paying any money. So we can make it. No. They got people that paying attention to us. Trust me when I tell you so. Because even the moderators were sliding away, I remember Highland calling Strick Attention. If you don't know what was his name, Highland is Strick Attention. He called in, and when he put a case of FOD, David Ellis cut him off. He cut him off. I hear him the other day, last week, saying, the Barbados Labour Party and the Democrat Labour Party and the Friends of Democracy, they're going to choke them. Because we're here to stay. We're making a statement. It's the people, it ain't really the representatives, it ain't really the politicians, It's the people that got demand that they listen to us. They got to stop disrespecting people that representing the people. You see, there's a thing in Barbados that as long as they can get something for me, I ain't caring about a fella. You all know what I'm talking about too. They got a lot of men that would curse the Prime Minister 24/7. And the next week you hear them call the Prime Minister the greatest thing that the earth has ever seen. You think you just turn around your mouth so? And the Prime Minister knows them well. Because the Prime Minister knows that it's put out the hand here and there. Let them try to attack me for saying it. Because they know what he's saying is true. And if you're going to rebuff what they're saying, if they attack me because they hit them where it was. They curse the Prime Minister up and down, and when she gave a little 6 cents, she take it, and now saying she's the best thing since sliced bread. But the money is run out, just how the money run out with the drug program. Because she don't get enough to hold you. She's getting enough to keep you quiet. And when the money run out, she left you for a while longer and left you out there like a dog hollering. And every time you holler, the people in Barbados say, you can hush your damn mouth. I won't hear you. Because you have no credibility. None whatsoever. And that is the country that we live in. I like to call it the little rock that we live in. Because we're too small for that. This little rock we live in, we used to be the gem of the Caribbean. People in the world used to pay a fortune to come and visit Barbados. I worked cruise ships for years. And when we introduced the band and they said this from the island of Barbados, people rushed to the stage for autograph, not for the music, but because we were Barbadians. I've seen that my whole life. Throughout the whole world, I went to 87 countries in my life. People talk about Barbados in the highest standards, in the highest level. Barbados was the ranking, mainly through a man by the name of L. Walton Barrow. Because he said, quite frankly, we are friends of all and satellites of none. So nobody would ever try to disrespect him because he let them know early who he was. You don't got to have money or wealth to be respected, you know. A lot of people feel that I want to get some money and you're going to be somebody dying through you. Just be a man that got money, an idiot with money. That's all you're going to be. An idiot with money. You don't get money, don't make you respected. You got to respect yourself first. And that's where we're losing. We're losing the self-respect. Al Barra ended up in the White House sitting with President Lyndon Johnson and his wife having a cup of coffee. I would assume it was coffee in the cup. Because you know Barra like gin and cold on it. I would assume it was I would assume it was coffee in the cup. But the point is, that was in 1968. So I go all around to remind you of who we really are, you know. I go look for that green light. Huh? I got to wrap up, yeah. Oh, you got the green. I didn't see the green. You see, it's impossible for me to see green when they green. It's a green new deal. I can't see unless somebody tell me I can't see the green. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I warm that here now. Because next Wednesday night, right? What night is the 10th? You can't put on the light for me in the farm, you know. The light can be blue. The whole of the best can come to hear what I got to say. Because I got a lot to say. Because I'm representing poor people. Good night and God bless you.
West Central, Friends of Democracy, Vote Ramsey, West Central stand up proudly, Friends of Democracy, standing strong for we.
Yeah, well, I told you that he is a grassroots man. And he had been fighting for himself and others all along, and that he will uplift them the same way that he was able to uplift himself. See, the problem is that we got a lot that can't even know for themselves, but want to know for others. He have been doing for himself and others his whole life. Now, recently, Miss Motley come to a bit of her senses, and she's claiming that the VAT, because remember that like we who introduced the reduction in this VAT, and somehow it's sticking everybody craw. And she now know that if you remove the VAT, that there's no possibility that the merchants would pass it on. Well, they've been keeping it all along, so I don't see why they would pass it on now. But it's a pity that she didn't know that when on the other side of the same 2018 election, she was marching up and down as the demon in white to remove the NSRL. That was supposed to be a tax on the merchants and not on the workers. And they gave her a solemn pledge that if it is removed, that the prices would come down. And I asked all the operatives to give me one item that come down. And now 8 years later, they still can't give me one item that come down. So I'm thinking that if she did come to her senses before, she would have known that the NSRL was the tax that should have stayed, because that would have been upfront. They would have had to pay, and they could not hold on onto it. Anyhow, moving smartly along, I would now come to the next representative for St. Michael North, and I got that feeling dearly within my heart. And it is amazing that when we first met, it was in St. Michael West Central, and there was a clash. I was the chairman of St. Michael West Central, and they brought him over to replace me. And they thought that it would bring some bad blood between us. And today, or tonight, as we stand here, we are closer than ever. So I'm hoping that I, for my little bit, will be able to push him over the hill too. So I am appealing to the people of St. Michael North that it is about time to get some true and genuine representation. The constituency, as most of the others, definitely needs some reshaping. There isn't a road in the constituency that you could say you're satisfied with. Even recently, some that he had complained about, they come and try to fix them, and at this stage, they are incomplete. So they could not even finish it, and now they run and bring forward the election. So even if they was hoping to finish it before the election, as we speak, we still have to traverse the unfinished roads. Anyhow, I would like to introduce him to you now. When I first introduced myself to you, I told you that I was, or rather I am Cardinal Ricardo Highland. We just had Ricardo Williams, and now we have him Ricardo Harrison. So I'm hoping that, you know, they say when it's nice, you do it twice. So I don't know what we can do it now for the third time. Ricardo Harrison.
We going with Ricky. Ricky working. He always working. Ready to serve. Serve like a soldier. Serve, 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 serve. Friends of democracy. Ricky does work. We going with Ricky. Ricky working. He always working. Ready to serve. Serve like a soldier. Serve, 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 serve. Friends of democracy. Ricky does work.
Good night to the good people of St. Michael North. Good night, Barbados. And I want to say a special good night to the former opposition leader, the Reverend Joseph Atherley. He's a good friend of mine. This evening, friends, before I expound on the policies of the Friends of Democracy, I want to say a little something about St. Michael's North. Now, we came to you in 2022 as the candidate for another place, and you said to us, Ricky boy, we like you. You ain't a bad looking. But hold tight. We can risk Ronald's protege to see we got in him. Sadly, Ronald's protege turned into Houdini. The people in St. Michael North don't see him anywhere. As a matter of fact, I was out canvassing recently, and a youngster said to me, the first time he saw him was on a pole with his picture up, and he didn't know who he was. He was given a mandate to represent you, riding on somebody's coattail, because everywhere you go in the constituency, there's a place on the pole to put up a poster, because there's two people on the poster. He and something called missing in action. We promise you, the good people of St. Michael North, that when you elect us on February the 11th, we will offer you sterling representation. We will bring to you not hide and seek, but we will have a visible presence in the constituency at all times. We will ensure that the needs of this constituency, which are many, are met. The current occupier of the space has shown clearly that he does not have the enthusiasm for the job. Indeed, his track record is such that he oversaw the Trident ID card fiasco at, yes, it was he. And having done such a splendid job, he was relegated to a back room in the Ministry of Health, overseen by Dr. Walcott. We want to remind you, St. Michael North family, that even though you said to us to hold tight and to wait until 2026, we never turned our back on this constituency. Rather, we made our presence felt when you had your fun days and your family days. We made your presence felt when you had your little Christmas camps. And we ensured that even though we had to wait, we didn't turn our backs on you. So tonight, I implore you, don't make the same mistake twice. Go out and correct the error of 2022. Because we are bringing you a representative who will stay in touch with you. We are bringing you not any imposters from any other place who come to hop, skip, and jump with a bullhorn disturbing people at night. But we will vote for somebody who will lobby on your behalf for a better, efficient transportation. Only tonight, a constituent came to me and said that transportation, particularly in the Eden Lodge area, is abysmal. That the buses hardly ever run up there, and they are sorely in need of proper transportation. We'll also ensure that there is an environmental cleanup. When I walk through the constituency, the many derelict vehicles, and they have been so since 2022, which harbor rats, not the one from George Street, but we harbor rats and other vermin. We need the constituency to be rid of these vehicles. Indeed, we propose to introduce in certain areas a neighborhood watch, because like the ad said, crime is very much with us. And we need to be our brother's keeper. Also, we propose to install those safety mirrors in the blind corners, particularly in the Crystal Heights and Claremont districts, where there are many blind corners. We propose, when you elect us on the 11th of February, to introduce sports and cultural activities. And for this activity, I will be calling on two of my friends, Ricardo Williams and Dominique York, for their assistance. We also propose improved street lighting in certain areas. Now to the business at hand. The cost of living is like the sword of Damocles around the necks of most Barbadians. The Prime Minister of Barbados is on record as saying that if you reduce the VAT, then there's no guarantee that the cost of living will come down. Now, this is the Prime Minister, friends, Barbadians, that introduced a tent law that will lock you up if your vehicle's too dark. This is the Prime Minister that legislated during the COVID period that if you step outside to buy a pack of Shirley biscuits and a plus, you can get locked up or pay $50,000. This is the Prime Minister that legislated the Airbnb vacation homes, that if you didn't fall into line, you pay some ridiculous amount of $50,000 or something like that, or $250,000 or something like that. This is the Prime Minister that moved the fee for not assisting a police officer in distress from $500, or $10,000, or some ridiculous figure. And she is saying that there ain't a guarantee. Now, my other friends touched on the subject of that, and my good friend from school days, Mr. Steve Blackett, so eloquently elucidated it that there's no need for me. Nevertheless, the first persons in Barbados that spoke to the reduction of VAT, not the abolition, and that fella from Christchurch, he says, I hope that Dominique worked the floor with him. The first people that talked about the reduction, not the abolition of VAT, was the Friends of Democracy. This is before the bell rung. We said that to move it from 17.5 to 16% at the port of entry would ease the plight of poor Barbadians. But no, everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Dr. Greenwich strong everybody. And now I hear that the rat chirping about talking about reducing the VAT. Friends, let me tell you this. Back in my day, there was an entity in the Ministry of Commerce called the Price Control Division. The same way that the Prime Minister could pass a lot of silly laws, why can't she legislate for the price of basic food goods like flour and rice, so that if you go up Massey for a bag of flour, it costs $2. You go up Popular, it's $2. Charlton, it is $2. Not varying prices. The Prime Minister has the power to legislate anything in Barbados. You remember she said at one time that everything got to come tucci? You remember that? It's big work, she said. Big works. We have the power. And talking about the VAT would compromise the economy. They gave away $1 billion and ain't get compromised. They gave $400 million to the hoteliers, and we don't know for what reason, and the economy ain't get compromised. They paid $750,000 for an ad that never saw the light of day, and the economy ain't get compromised. We believe the government can reduce VAT without the country suffering too much. At the beginning of their term in office, that is in 2018, when they said that them people left the government, the treasury broke, they took up 54 million Barbados dollars, not $54, 54 million Barbados dollars, and gave to an entity called White Oaks. White Oaks was an operation in somebody's kitchen in England. And we don't know for what, but they said they didn't have any money at the point in time. There's a lot of talk about voting for opposition and not voting for opposition. I heard a gentleman who still reaps for George Street wanted to know, because he passed Sunday, where we had our Manifesto launch, why if we want to be an opposition party, what we want a manifesto for. I believe that gentleman is old enough to remember in 1976, a famous opposition leader at the time said, I like Mr. Barrow. He is an excellent prime minister. I don't want to be the prime minister. I want to be the opposition leader. And you know what happened? He won the government 14-10, because in those days he only had 24 seats. So let's talk about not wanting or why we got 12, and the number 12, as my other friends spotted, is significant. Jesus chose 12 disciples. I think the guy called Murphy will help me better than this. Caleb, he walked around some city with 12 people in a horn. So the number 12 is significant. We have 12 worthy candidates who are, I was going to say, just as bright as the one in Parliament now, but I'll change that. Brighter than what we got in Parliament now. Young, intelligent men and women who are capable enough to offer decent representation as an opposition party in Parliament. Not what we have now. What we have now is a goon show. You know, I don't know how many people watch television. There's a fella called Jeff Dunham, who was a puppet, Walter and the other Ahmed and that. That's what obtains in Parliament now. The government has all 29 seats in Parliament and takes the people of Barbados for a ride, cracking jokes instead of attending to the people's business in a serious way. I want to talk about this whole voting exercise, this fiasco, and it bears repeating for those who have heard it already. Can you imagine that two of my friends calling me and tell me, Ricky boy, we can't vote? And I don't mean Wayne Holder, he's my good friend. But two of my good friends call me and tell me, them can't vote because them dead. I said, but how you dead? You the police officer? He said he checked the list and they said he dead. I want people to understand that in 1951, when you reached the age of 21, you were allowed to vote and you didn't have to have a plantation or you didn't have to be white. Adult suffrage gave the vote at age 21. In 1963, they lowered the age to 18 years old, giving you the right to vote. Don't go and check the list. On February the 11th, go to the polls with your ID card. And anybody tell you anything? There are a number of lawyers in defense of democracy. My president, Karina Goodridge, my friend Anya Lord, I ain't gonna call myself, but there are a number of lawyers called lawyers like to do work for people. Go to the poll. Don't stop home and say, I died, so I ain't going. It is crazy. Make it make sense. Listen, this government speaks about losing money and not giving the workers the benefits. This is a government, friends, that lost $53 million on the steel housing project. This is a government that got involved with the heartless, hopeless Hope project. $60 million. Another house to show for it. If you want to see the remnants of that project, go to Poolwoods and see some overgrown grass, overgrown houses, some derelict structures. Go to 6 Roads Development. The Chinese might still be there. So is the rust and the rusted metal. And if you want a good laugh, go to Lancaster and see some of the ugliest buildings I ever see designed anywhere in the world. And we have local contractors that can't get no work. Pass by the stadium. And when you speak to the workers at the stadium, none of them can ask you because they don't know English. And people in Barbados can't find a work. And you know what the Prime Minister said? I will have a commission for inquiry into the whole project. I will make sure. But where is the result of the whole project? Where is the result of that commission of inquiry? Are we waiting until after the election to spring a surprise on Barbadians? Somebody still said to me, I didn't check this for myself, that we reckon $8 million a month on the sewage and solid waste project. Now, the central bank governor recently said, and I read it in the paper, that we are doing well. Things are good. The unemployment is down 6%. The gross national product is X over Y by C. Why, friends? Why, Barbadians? If we are doing so well, can't that dastardly sewage and solid waste tax be removed from people's water bills. People have to juggle to determine which bill to pay. Whether to send school all 3 of the children, or keep 2 home and send 1 this week and send the other 2 next week. And don't fool ourselves. Poverty is real in Barbados. We think that because people twiddle figures in front of your face and try to make you believe that all is well and good. But there are certain families, and those of us who've been out canvassing in certain communities will see these families who are in dire need, who have to juggle 3 children, and they got to determine which they're going to send to school this week. They have to determine if they're going to pay the store, or if they're going to pay the water bill, or the light bill, or the cell phone bill. And we have a premise of saying that there ain't a guarantee that if the VAT is removed, that things will get any cheaper. Prime Minister, legislate, go back to the price control and legislate on basic food items. I heard Steve speak to the food centers, the feed centers. But while we wait for those feed centers, which are an excellent initiative, let us go back to the price control division in the Ministry of Commerce and legislate on basic food items: milk, sugar, corned beef, rice, biscuits, and baby formula. I don't have any babies, but so I don't know what to drink nowadays. But baby, in my day it was called problem. But go back and legislate on these things. Mandate that the supermarkets keep these prices in check. You have the power. And I use the word power advisedly. Instead of promising that children born in 2021 will receive a $5,000 bounty, give it to them now. And you know what is hurtful? That is a policy borrowed from a man in the United States. A man with an orange wig. Sorry, wig or a head? Donald Trump. That's not her idea. That's not her. And it gets worse. Because they delivered. They delivered a fancy manifesto. And you know where the manifesto come from?
We are seeking to keep the bees in check because currently they behave like a runaway train.
They delivered a manifesto from allegedly Jamaica. The Jamaica government. Before I speak to the wonderful policies enunciated by the Friends of Democracy, let me say this to you. Our policies have not been borrowed from anybody. Our policies are what you call salt of the earth, homegrown policies, sat down by the executive, the president, and other members of her planning committee. And we have put out, after only 7 months of birth, some wonderful policies. Now let me look at two that I, are particularly sweet on. Well, use the word sweet. The issue of crime continues to be a bugbear in Barbados. We dance around it. We look out for the criminals, for the criminal element, but there's nothing in place for the victim. We always speak to the criminal and we look at how much time he should get and if he should get counseling. We are saying here, and I repeat it, even if it bores you, that the only way to get this crime wrestled to the ground is to get serious about it. no less a person than the Director of Public Prosecutions, and he come from the side too, Mr. Seal, agrees with us. He says that for heinous crimes like murder, you should be given the death penalty. I know everybody started to raise, oh, no. But nobody ever gave thought that when you kill a young person, a mother is grieving, a child is grieving, an entire family is grieving, a workplace has lost a work member. We are saying, as the friends of democracy, let us reintroduce capital punishment. And I say that without fear or indeed favor. If you don't want the gallows, which last swung in 1984 when a famous person's grandmother was killed, then use the electric chair or the gas chamber. I, Burton Ricardo Harrison, say that tonight. And for those youngsters who don't want to work, but like to go in old people's homes and rummage through and carry away the married rings and the little pension, I am saying tonight that corporal punishment be introduced. Not necessarily cat o' nine tail, because I am told that those who were flogged with the cat never walk straight again. But certainly, the tamarind rod or the birch, bring them to the senses. And also, to add to it, introduce hard labor. Years ago when they had quarries, prisoners used to have to perform hard labor. We don't have any quarries anymore, but there's a lot of debushing that's going on around Barbados that needs to be done. And you will see that, you see, my friend of 60-somebody years brought me a bottle of water. He is a gentleman. As I was saying, the introduction of hard labor so that the prisoners who are on short-term sentences can debush the country and make it a better place. Because we talk about environmental this and environmental that, but you walk around and see so much bush in Barbados that you can't believe it. Now, to the vexing question of housing. Every single Barbadian likes to own their own home. But sadly, the process is fraught with frustration, and you go to the bank or the finance houses, and the amount of questions you have to answer, you would think that you're trying up with the Supreme Court. The amount of paperwork that you have to sign would flatten George River Forest. The Friends of Democracy, as one of its key components, one of its key manifesto promises, will give you affordable housing. That is, it will give an offer, I should say, offer 100% mortgages to those who are qualified. Public officers, and we speak specifically to nurses, police officers, and civil servants in the category, and this wages salaries category of $2,500 to $5,000. We will offer them loans to get their own houses, and these will be 100% mortgages, superintended and supervised by creditable agencies, not disappearing agencies as with the whole project. We will offer terrace units at an affordable rate so that people will be able to once again own their own houses. We will produce a standalone house, a basic structure. That is the roof, walls, plumbing, electricity. But we will allow you to fit in your vanities, your tiles, and the other niceties. We also propose, and this is the one I like, it's my favorite, something called a reverse mortgage. So that if you reach the age of 60 and you're still paying your mortgage out of your pension and your children getting a little assistance, the reverse mortgage will simply do this for you. Instead of you paying the finance house every month, they pay you. And the only time that you would have to pay them anything, well, not you, but your estate, is if you transition or if you want to sell the property. This is a wonderful initiative for those persons 60 and over who meet a particular qualification. And these are not airy-fairy borrowed promises. These are promises that have been carefully studied and carefully trashed out, and they are workable, and indeed they are doable. The other area that we intend to pursue is the area of land tax. Now, I don't understand why, if you buy a piece of land that you can't carry anywhere with you, that you have to pay a land tax on it every single year. Somebody said to us, but if when give all these gifts to the people, how will we make back our money? Easy. There are areas in Barbados and people in Barbados who don't pay government a cent. And they don't pay government a cent simply because they are government's friend. And also, we have about 40 consultants attached to various departments in government. Fire them! They have one who overseeing the wiretapping exercise. Chase you here. Then they have them at every ministry sitting down on the cell phone or on the computer during the day, looking at Amazon to see which Goosey shoes or Savile Row shoes to buy and getting $8,000 a month. And government can afford these things. Because as I speak to you about this $8,000 a month, you remember they had a peace program? $8,000 to the gangsters to stop shooting one another. And when the money run out, the gangsters start about shooting one another. Can you imagine that a government's solution to crime in Barbados is to pay gangsters not to shoot one another? I know that the line with them, that is challenge to Parliament with them too. But if I can touch back briefly on this whole crime situation, we had an Attorney General with the sweetest smile in the world. 47 people dead. 50 people dead. It is about time that we grab the bull by the horn and bring in outside. You wanted to bring 80,000 Irishmen here to Barbados to boost up the population. But somebody said, but they ain't going to be white, they're going to look funny. So to change the mind, I went to the CARICOM immigration bill, Vincentians, Dominicans, and the people from Belize. I wonder how much of them voting on the 11th, anyhow. If you want to seriously address the issue of crime in Barbados, I am saying to you, with all due respect to the police force in Barbados Police Service, and I have many good friends in there as well. Why not go to an outside agency like the Royal Canadian Mounted Police or Scotland Yard, or especially the Australian Border Police, to find out where the guns coming from? We don't make guns in Barbados. Little fellas don't make seed guns no more. What if we used to make a board gun and put a piece of rubber in it and fire about? So who making the guns in Barbados, or who bringing in the guns in Barbados? And we need to have an independent, sanitized agency that ain't got no friends nowhere to tell us, to assist us in the investigation in tracking down the crime. It is about time. We want to also understand how in Barbados we can guarantee the safety of our citizens. Many people are afraid to travel at night. People say once they get home, they don't want to come back out because two things is frightening them: the white lights and the criminals. We want to return Barbados to the state that we used to enjoy, when you can sit down on your front doorstep at night and talk and crack jokes, or go to the shop and play a game of dominoes with folk. When a car muffle a backfire, you jump in. We want Barbados to return to that state of peace and harmony. We want Barbados to vote for a serious opposition party. They can complain all they want to complain. My friend Laker worked it out. He said, we got 12 seats. If we land all 12, and the rest out there get, what was this, 8 and 8, that make the 30, or if we get 10, and the others get the other 10 and 10, Karina Goodridge can be Prime Minister of Barbados. I'm telling you, I'm asking. We need a vibrant opposition in Barbados to keep the bees in check. The bees are like a runaway train. They pass legislation willy-nilly. The only good thing about the pieces of legislation that they attempt to pass is that they have to pull it back as soon as they try to pass it. Every bit of legislation that they have attempted in the 7 years that they have been in office or in power, they have had to walk it back, go back to the drawing board. Ladies and gentlemen, friends in St. Michael North, on the morning of February the 11th, get up early, have a good breakfast, and when you go to your various polling stations, you see the second name on the list, Bertnell Ricardo Harrison, the only Bertnell in the world. Google it. Place your X for decent, honest, caring representation. Vote for a positive influence on young people. And not only vote for Bertnell, but vote for all the other 11 candidates who have bravely, because it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, and coming out of that place, I hear people on the calling programs talking a lot of funniness about how we were preaching the Constitution, we were behaving badly, we were this and we were that. But for those who don't know or understand, when you take old ladies and force them to urinate behind a building, people like Miss Mark, people like Big Heather, my good friend. People like Deborah, my good friend again. And you force them to use behind the building, not even to use the bathroom facilities. I know you're running out Barbados, telling Barbadians to vote for winner. So that as soon as they don't do one, like when they shut out the Barbados and send us to St. Vincent, good night, people, I gone.
With Ricky walking, he always working, ready to serve like a soldier. Serve. Friends of democracy, Ricky does work. We're going with Ricky.
All right, so Michael North, you've heard your next representative, and it is all up to you. You can decide, well, you have a choice. I think there's 3 on the ballot, and you have the choice, you say the middle one. So I'm hoping that you would follow suit and make certain that he is your next representative. Taking another look at Ms. Mortley. Now, she is saying that she wants a mandate. Based on elections and the election cycle, she had a mandate in 2018 that would have taken her to 2023, a 5-year term. And had she gone to 2023 and then had another 5-year term, she would have gone to 2028. But here we are now at the beginning of 2026, and she begging for a mandate. Well, I can tell you that she gave up the mandate that she had. As a matter of fact, the 2 that she had, she gave them up early. And I'm begging to give her an early exit. So whenever the election is done, make certain that she get the mandate to go home, not to continue anymore. If she wanted a mandate, she would have kept the one she had, and she would have been safe till 2028. So I would like that you can find it within your hearts to make certain that the mandate that she get on the 11th of February is to pack her things and go. Anyhow, with the lateness of the other, and here now I would bring to you our president, and a nice Christian lady, a sight to behold. There would be no need for nobody to tell her if she need attention. She got to strip and run away. She is a thing of beauty and very easy on the eye. And I like the way she does use the English language and the Bajan dialect. You know your phone ain't working anymore? Well, that does tickle me. And that she would take the seat, that is what I like. So without any further ado, I will ask our president to come and address you. And I would hope that we will make certain that when the parliament is restarted, that she is there taking the seat.
Friends of democracy, leading in woman. She's the best for the West, best for the West. Fighting for you, walking with you. What a Karina, vote Karina. Friends of democracy, leading in woman. She's the best for the West, best for the West. Fighting for you,
Good night.
walking with you.
Good night, St. Michael. It's such an honor and pleasure to see each and every one of you. I know you could be anywhere else in the world, but you are here with us tonight to support the Friends of Democracy. So first of all, I want to thank you for that. Thank God for each and every one of you, because I know that there's a little party going on up the road too, but you chose to be with us. So give yourself tonight a round of applause for that. I want you to give a round of applause for every speaker who spoke tonight. Wonderful things coming from the Friends of Democracy, a 7-month-old party, but sharing licks all over the place. And every constituency where we have a candidate, licks all over the place. We are people who are not backing down without a fight. As a matter of fact, fighting for you is my slogan for St. Philip West. And I will continue to fight on behalf of every citizen in this nation. And I'm fighting under the umbrella of Friends of Democracy. And my message to you is that stronger opposition equals a stronger Barbados. And we need to strengthen our country. So you would hear all the wizzy, where people want to say, oh, they want to be opposition, so that means that they can't govern. That is not the case. We are sure about ourselves. Look at how great we have developed in 7 months. Compare us, if you want, to any other third party. We will toot the horn for the bees, because the bees have to be scared, because they know that we are coming, and they know that every single message that came out of Friends of Democracy was facts, not fiction. We did our research, and you need us in Parliament. I remind you, the budget is scheduled for April, and it is coming up. And that is why you need a voice, because we've been out here saying over and over, there are a lot of mysteries still happening in this country, where you hear people complaining, but still no answers. Do you know that part of good governance is accountability and transparency? So how can you trust that you are being guided on the good governance when you don't have the accountability and the transparency that you need as people? Part of this nation was built by you who are alive. You matter. Your voice matter. And there's no way that your voice should not be heard. So there should be consultations with you, the people of the nation. Any good government should know that they should be consulting with you. When they are making decisions, it is you, the public, that matters. How could somebody be making a decision on your behalf without consulting you, not knowing if it would benefit you enough or not? They need to hear your voice. So we will continue to say our mandate is keeping the bees in check. And I want that message to go all over Barbados, because it is so necessary to keep the bees in check. Lack of accountability, lack of transparency, lack of oversight. These are matters that many people have been complaining about. As a matter of fact, the nation had reported a survey, and the survey was done. And that was actually a point that came up. Lack of accountability and transparency. And we cannot sit by and be quiet about it, because we are the taxpayers. We are the ones that when you hear Karina and her team is out here and we are asking about Manifesto results, we want to know what was spent, what was budgeted for it, and we still don't know, and we are going into an election. And we cannot sit down lightly and say, okay, we'll give the bees 30 seats when there are so many unanswered questions. Are you tired hearing me say, what was the Manifesto budget? I'm not tired hearing my own voice, because until I get the answer, I'm going to keep on putting pressure on them. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that they're saying in their analysis, when I'm hearing the governmental minister speaking, and he's basically saying, look, if they have to do payment and you get paid pretty much early, then you will get paid shorter. What madness I have heard. You, the people, deserve better. Anytime you work, you should get paid. As a matter of fact, one of our policies is this. When the government owes you, the people, money, they should pay you back with interest. It can't be that when you owe the government money, so much trouble comes your way, but then when you owe them, hey, no, when you owe them, when they owe you, sorry, they should pay with interest. Every single time this party comes, I come with an idea. And we say, take the VAT off of the food. It is a problem. But you know why? What is the real issue in this country? I honestly think that the government is not serious enough, because I should be able to turn the Nation newspaper tomorrow and see foreign investment plans. I am hoping to see that caption, because at the end of the day, I haven't even heard them pressing for medical tourism. Because when you are saying you don't have money, why is that money always have to come from the taxpayers? Always some fine, always some draconian measure you must follow, and if you don't follow it, there's a fine. Look at the Police Amendment Act. Look what happened. They're trying to find money so bad, and as a matter of fact, they made an admission when the Prime Minister lifted her hands in the air and said, we want money. So the admissions don't have to come from me, myself, from my lips. The admission is coming from them. And if they want money, I'm saying they need proper investment plans for you. We need proper investment plans. And as I was telling you just now, medical tourism, why it is that tourists can bring foreign investment right here. And as a matter of fact, if foreign investment coming, you would know that we wouldn't have so much brain drain. Because many a time our own people are leaving the country because of the lack of opportunities, because of the same brain drain happening. So we need to find a way that foreign investment will come into the country. Why not have a state-of-the-art hospital here? We, friends of democracy, have been looking out for the people because we recognize QEH so much mismanagement. And every time they complain about there's not enough money, we know that it's because there's waste and there's also a lot of mismanagement, and God forbid, we smell corruption. And that's the word that many people are afraid to say. But if we don't know what is going on behind the scenes, especially when it comes to funds and money, obviously we are going to think the system is corrupted. Because where there are no answers and where there is lack of transparency, then you could well say to yourself that there could be a grounds for corruption. So, Barbados, our policies are clear. And I can tell you, we had even more ideas that could fit in there. This ain't no competition that we are afraid of. We are not like the bees. The bees sometimes are so afraid of competition that they will fill up a pole with most of their face that nobody else can even fit onto a pole. They must take up every space. And that is why the country is this way. Because many people believe that there's no space for no other party. And I come to break down that idea that it's only all about B's and D's. It is time that we look at the representatives and strongly ask ourselves if they deserve our votes. We are giving away a vote consistently and persistently without people earning it. And it needs to stop because we are the same ones who end up suffering and in pain. I have canvassed and walked. And every time I have walked, I have met an angry individual. So when you listen to Starcom and you hear about voter apathy, I can assure you and attest to you, each and every one of you, that the voter apathy is real. And if it continues, there will be a very low voter turnout. And that is why we need true democracy in this country. We need it. We can no longer stand by and allow the masses to win all the time. We must stand firm and believe in democracy. How many times in this nation do we sit by and understand that we are under a government that don't even recognize that we need to strengthen the laws? I brought it up recently because I find that it is essential. They have missed the mark when it comes to the legislation in this country. And that is why I keep saying to you, the public, crime should not be so much on the rise, because we have to bring down the numbers. Sympathy is not sufficient when every day or almost every day you are hearing about some crime by gun violence. We have to strengthen our laws. And you heard Ricky Harrison tonight. And we said in our manifesto that we will have a conversation about having those stricter laws. Because many a time we know that you are so scared as the public that you have considered the capital punishment too. And we are not saying that it is the only answer. We understand that we need to bring back boot camps and mentorship for youngsters. But we also understand too that we cannot sit by every day and allow lives to be lost without we ensuring that we can deter the youngsters from thinking that killing people and causing these crimes is the right way to live. We cannot, because I know a mother's cry, and it is not an easy one. And I know a father's pain, and it is not a good look on him. And I can tell you that they want the government to do something about it. And that is why the laws need to be strengthened in the country. We need to do it because we have to save our brothers and sisters. And if we are saying that this is a country of tourism, why then will we want high crime rates to run away the same tourists that we want to come to the nation and to celebrate in Barbados with us? If we want to push tourism, we need to ensure that they are coming to a safe country. Don't forget that many a time when tourists come here, that they have been robbed too. We can't forget these things because the bees are not going to promote these things that we are saying, so we got to promote them for ourselves. We got to keep them in check. And at all costs, we cannot stand by and be afraid because they have the masses, because I could see that there's a lot of waste, many parties, celebrations, and I ask myself, but why can't some of that money be invested into serious projects to help Barbados to be properly developed? Why can't we take the money and use the money wisely when it comes to education and mentorship programs for our young people? It's one thing to say that young people go to the university with tuition free. But after that, many a time, these same youngsters are not paid for their degree. So you're telling a person who doesn't have a degree, it makes really no sense, apart from having the education to have the degree, if many a time they're not paid for the degree. So the government needs to go and get into those partnerships and have those conversations with some of these foreign countries and allow the contracts to flow where young people could work remotely from home. We cannot forget our youth. The youth is the future. The youth is our future. And we have to provide opportunities for them. We have to give them a new appetite. Something else, something other than just being lawless sometimes, because not all of them are lawless, but we have to give them an appetite, and we have to give them opportunities for something new. And it's not just about passing a university examination, because there's life after the degree. No. We have spoken on our platforms, and one of the things that we spoke about is having the coconut water villages. And I'm going to take that everywhere, because we do not have any in Barbados. And we have a policy for that. To have the coconut water villages is like telling every individual who handles and deals with coconuts that we appreciate your service. And we want to elevate you. We want to bring something new for you, to help you with your business, to expand your business. It will help when the tourists come and see the coconut water vendor villages available. They will recognize that there are the toilets there, and that the roads don't have to be dirty with all the coconut husks in there, in the roads where people have to pass by. So we are here to say, hey, let's support your business. Those are the people that we also want to remember, that we also want to support. Because many a time, those are the same individuals who are forgotten. And we cannot forget them, because we have to think about the masses. So we cannot forget them. And we are advocating that the government should take that into consideration and have those coconut water vendor villages. Even as you stand here before me, today I was just dealing with another pressing issue. And you know, it reminded me of something that Barbadians need. It is such a necessity. When Mr. Harrison came out here tonight and he was talking about the 100% mortgages, and we talk about rent-to-own policy, right? You have to know what is going on behind the scenes in the nation. There is so much confusion between tenants, even by mail, to say, hello, I remember you. They will try to undermine what I'm saying. But when they don't represent you well, you have the opportunity. On the 11th of February, not March, it's coming soon. Matter of fact, it's only about 5 days or so. But you have a short time to make up your mind and make the right decision. And don't say no strong leadership if you don't see the right leadership and good governance. You have an option called Friends of Democracy, and that is my final statement to you tonight. We deserve better, but for better and for change, we must demand more. We cannot sit back and just wait. Too much weight does break the scale. Don't let the weight break the scale. Get up and stand for more Barbados. I out and gone. Thank you.
Na, na, na. Hey, stand up, Barbadians. Let me take back we respect. Time to rise up, time to step. We keeping the bees in check, 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 check. Keeping the bees in check. No more thing on the people neck. We standing strong, we won't be fake.
Well, if ever there was clarity of thought, you just had a clear demonstration of it. Things that are well thought out and are implementable and would not be subject to any walkbacks. What we have right now is a walkback government, and they somehow don't seem to be able to get out of that rut. Thank you all for staying with us till the end of the meeting. Tomorrow night, we're having another meeting at Wharton, so I'm inviting you over, as many of you that can come. And hopefully by Tuesday night, we would have been able to convince the apathetic voters. And somehow the survey is pushing them over the halfway mark. So I'm appealing to the apathetic voters, the voters that don't want the B's nor the D's, to come and throw their lot with the friends of democracy, and come Wednesday morning, we will hear that we definitely in the mix-up. So with that, a good night to everyone. Get home safely.
Keeping the bees in check. Oh, na na na. Hey, stand up, Barbadians. Let me take back we respect. Time to rise up, time to step. We keeping the bees in check. Check, 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 check. Keeping the bees in check. No more thing on the people neck. We standing strong, we won't defect. Barbados, rise up, show respect. Check, check. Keeping the bees in check. From St. Lucie straight down to St. Philip West. We guarding the high, we ready, we respect. Friends of democracy, keeping bees in check. Buzz, but we hearing the truth. People waking up from the long time snooze, no more poll and talk. Time to inspect the whole life shaking when we keeping bees in check. Keeping the bees in check. No more sting on the people neck. We standing strong, we won't defect. Barbados, rise up, show respect. Eh. Keeping the bees in check. From St. Lucie straight down to St. Philip West. We guarding the high, we ready, we said. Friends of democracy, keeping bees in check. No more flying around the world while the island stress. No more leaving poor people in a hot mess. We want real honey, not fancy speeches to impress. We want justice sweet, no, not data progress. So let we march, let we chant, let we reconnect. From the youth to the elders, we all interject. This country deserve love, not constant neglect. And we right here steady, keeping bees in check. Keep me bees in check, keeping me bees in check. No more sting on the people neck. We rising up, we won't defect. Barbados strong show, intellect. Keeping the bees in check. Every parish, every district, yes, a new kind of buzz, a new project. Friends of democracy, keeping bees in check. Hey, hold the line, Barbados. If the bees can't do the job, we go regulate the hive. Keeping the bees in check. Keeping the bees in check. Check, 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 check. Keeping the bees in check. Keeping the bees in check.
Call and response style.